What is up, homies? Welcome back to another episode of the CzechXicans podcast.
Hi.
Your eyes are fine. We do have a guest. Augustine is not here, but we're joined today by DJ Wooldridge.
Hello.
That's right, Kira.
DJ.
Just remember, no Augustine tonight. That's right. That's right.
DJ.
I don't know how it affects your guys' tie. You have to fit like Greek and Irish in there somewhere.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, CzechXicans.
Yeah.
CzechXicans.
This is a Greek.
Cool.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky one.
The Eurexicans.
Yeah.
How about that?
Ooh.
Maybe
they're
Eurexicans is the best.
Eurexicans.
That sounds like that sounds phallic and gross.
Yeah.
Greek and Irish is a great mix. What does that accent sound like?
Good question. I don't know. And there's a bunch of other things in there. Those are just the main ones.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Those are the highlights.
Cool.
Uh,
All right. I'm going to be thinking about that. I'm going to think what that accent will be like.
Yeah.
That's great.
I
In the
feel
most
like if I
stereotypical
tried
way
to do
possible.
it, it would probably be bad. It'd probably get me in trouble. So I don't want to.
But you wouldn't be in trouble. You could do it. You could say that. I can't say
It depends on what it sounds like.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, it still looks choppy.
Hey, fuck you.
What happened? Why?
It looks fine on my computer.
Oh, is that just the TV or
Might be.
everything's okay? Adam, are you filming in 24 FPS again? Asks Senator.
Listen, my camera's in 24 frames, and so is my stream, so I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Wait. Are we back? I think we're caught up. Look. I think it's normal.
This is
now.
what we do at the
There we go.
the beginning of the show. We sit here and he flubs his hands around.
Okay, gotcha. For a minute, it felt like when you're like at a sleepover and like mom and dad are fighting, and you're like, I'm not gonna get involved
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I would.
See, look how smooth you look.
It was good.
Like butter.
I was just saying, if there was an issue, it'd be better to go down, and then we just start it up again.
Nah,
But
no, I
there's
don't
no
wanna do
issue.
that.
There's
What
no
I love about
No issue.
where we're at now is
Yeah.
like it feels like almost impossible. Like when you have an issue, I don't think I'm as technically savvy as you guys are, but
It's all him.
it's one
It's
of
all
those
Adam.
like, is it a camera issue,
I
an
know.
internet issue, a computer issue?
Yeah. Well, last
It's
week,
fun. It's
last
fun.
week we went live, and I was like, "Oh, that's so weird that this is happening. Wonder
Yeah.
what's going on." Because we filmed a movie reaction, and that was
Yeah.
at one frame rate, and then the camera was at a different frame rate as the stream, and I was like, "Oh, I'm dropping frames. That's what's happening."
No.
We caught it about halfway through.
Yeah.
So
And then
we had to go
It
down.
was only like 6
fixed it.
minutes into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the rest of it is like an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Question for you guys.
Yeah, answer for you.
Would you rather have the ability to speak every language on the planet
Okay.
magically, or the ability to magically always understand every tech issue?
Language.
Language.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then you would have to do this job, and I'd be off the hook.
If I had the tech, I didn't say I was going to take the tech thing. I just want to know what you two
What
guys
would you
are gonna
What would
say.
you pick?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Here's the thing.
But magically knowing tech is a great superpower.
Yeah.
It'd be really good. My wife is bilingual,
Mhm.
and so I've been trying to catch up, and my brain is a little too
How's your
old to do
Espanol?
that.
Good?
Not great, which is a bummer considering the amount of work I put into it. And so it makes it'd be cool to like
Yeah.
have a shortcut to
Okay.
that one.
Okay, magically.
Yeah.
Fair.
And then
Just
you
like-
travel a lot. How great would it be?
Yeah, it would be great.
Because we on.
Let's
You know
hear
what
it
else?
Australian.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, mate. You know, also be great would be like, I feel like ASL would count.
Oh,
Like that
yeah.
would count.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I
yeah.
would love
Be-
to know ASL.
Because I think people underestimate, especially if you've like lived in the same country your whole
Yeah,
life,
yeah.
how
Yeah.
tricky it can be.
Yep.
Like if you go to
Yeah.
another country,
Yep.
like when my wife and I went on our honeymoon, it was in a Spanish speaking country, so I was so dependent on her being
Right,
around.
right.
Oh, yeah.
And so when she's like, "I'm going to go to the bathroom," and
You're
then
like,
somebody would go to
You're
talk
like-
to you, and you're like, I never felt so like especially for like, and I imagine you guys might feel similar because of what we do.
Yeah.
That
So out of your
speaking is
element.
such a tool
Yeah.
that you used to
Yep.
get out of or into
Totally.
situations so
Yep.
that you take that away from me. Like I don't know what to do now. Like I don't
Totally.
do it
Yeah,
myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, languages. I still might pick languages. That's super cool.
Yeah.
How about this? Would you rather know magically every tech issue, or magically know the words to every song?
Tech then.
Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be the hit at karaoke.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can sing well.
Yeah.
Good point.
You just
All
need
right,
lyrics.
guys,
Point
what
taken,
are
point
we
taken.
talking about tonight? Let's talk about it, because then I know that we've already got some questions.
We do.
that We'll get to.
So we're definitely going to talk about Superman Legacy.
Cool.
I made I was stunned by this because you know me.
Oh,
I
I know,
love
dude.
making my graphics. I
You're
usually always make
great
a
at it,
graphic
by
that's
the way.
like I don't know. It's some information dump. And the amount of people, including Clark Wolf, who was like, "This is so helpful,
Yes.
thank you," and
Yes.
I'm like, "Really?"
Because they
I
didn't
would have
put
never
one
thought.
out.
But yeah,
because they didn't,
Right.
like they had I mean, this is coming off of the photo that James Gunn posted of
Yeah.
their table read.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was all old information except for one actor was
Right.
technically announced in that photo, unless I'm
Mhm.
wrong, but it was
No,
the actor
you're right.
playing Otis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah. Oh, cool. And then
Yeah.
I looked up who the actor was, and I was like, he was in Guardians 3. I didn't know that. Like, that's so great. He looks like he's going to be
Mhm.
great as Otis. But yeah, there's the same way that even when they did their DC Gods and Monsters
Right.
announcement, and there's no graphic,
Yeah.
that you made the one that the internet stole.
Including
Yeah.
James Gunn.
And
Yeah.
I was like, you guys should have put one out.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
So the Superman graphic was really good.
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you made a follow-up Batman Begins graphic because people were pissing you off.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't even that they were pissing me off, but I'm sure you've heard this too, the narrative around the movie of like, if this is a superhero or Superman movie,
Yeah.
why are there so many superheroes in a Superman movie?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like people in 2004, and I made a graphic to go along with it that showed the whole cast, and I was like, that's like people in 2004 saying, is this a villain fest? Why are there so many bad guys in the first Batman movie?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, look how the movie turned out. Like,
Yeah.
Carmine Falcone's role was so small in comparison
Right.
to Ra's al
If
Ghul's
it
compared
fits- if
to
it fits the
Scarecrow's, you
narrative.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. It is hard. It is easier for Green Lantern to steal some limelight from Superman
Sure.
than Carmine Falcone
Right.
to
Yeah.
steal from a Batman.
From like a Batman villain.
Yeah.
True.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's a really good point. And if you pay attention to, as long as it's all fit within, you can fit as many characters as
Yeah,
story
right.
needs, as long
Right,
as it
right,
fits the
right,
story.
right.
Because you could do a graphic, Adam, of like the cast of Spider-Man 3,
Right.
Yeah.
which so many people since that movie came out have said, well, the problem with that movie is too many villains.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you could take another movie that's awesome that has as many or more
Spider-Man
villains.
No Way Home.
It has
Yeah.
as many villains,
Yeah.
and people wouldn't have the same issue because
Right.
it's just about the execution.
Exactly.
Yeah,
know?
it could be even, like even just from Spider-Man 3 to Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
Yeah.
To because that had Vulture, it
Yeah,
had Shocker,
two Shockers,
it had
Scorpion, technically.
Yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's very interesting. Kira's running, but who is going to play Perry White? I can't find that casting.
Oh.
yeah,
that's a great question.
well, it's funny because they did the table
Yeah.
read, and usually if there's a table read and there's no actor for like a character that appears,
Yeah.
someone else will read on their behalf.
Yeah.
In this case, it could have been James Gunn, could have been Peter Safran, could have been
Oh,
literally
so
anybody.
you think the character's in the story, but
I
just
would
wasn't
imagine.
present at the table?
I would
read?
imagine, right? Like, would it
Yeah.
be weird to do a Superman story that has Superman loves Jimmy Olsen but no Perry White?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of do.
You
Did y'all
know?
hear that? What was that
That was my
noise?
Discord.
Cool. Maybe that it. Yeah, it makes sense. Unless they're doing a thing where like, where they haven't cast Perry White, but Jimmy and Lois work at the Daily Planet, and at the end of the movie, they're like, "Oh, here comes our new boss," and then they like cut before like it's like, why are you guys trying to hype up Perry White? Like, oh man,
Great
like he's
Caesar's
like
ghost,
he's
all that's all
Tommy
you
the
hear.
Green Ranger from that
Yeah,
tease
yeah,
of the
yep,
Power
yeah, yeah,
Rangers.
yeah.
Oh, it's an empty chair. Oh, who's it gonna be?
Okay.
For that sequel, we're definitely gonna get. Do you guys have like a dream Perry White?
Oh man, I was really surprised by the casting of Lawrence Fishburne. I never knew that that's what I
Yeah.
would have wanted.
Yeah, you talk
Yeah.
about that.
He's so good.
He's
but
really
it-
good.
Yeah, like if I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, the first few people that come to mind is like a Bryan Cranston, like someone like
Yeah,
that.
I
he'd
like
be good.
that.
You know,
In the same vein of like a really great black actor who has that gravitas, wouldn't it be amazing if it was like fucking Denzel Washington? as
Yeah.
Perry
That would
White?
be
Wouldn't that be
insane.
Yeah.
amazing?
Like,
That
he
would
was-
be insane.
he was. I think Denzel was like rumored or like in like the casting mill. Maybe it was Superman. What was the Tim Burton one?
Superman.
Superman
lives. Yeah.
Superman
Lives. Yeah, I think
he was in the mix for
think
Perry
so.
White back then.
Maybe Perry White or Lex
Wow.
Luthor, one of the two.
I'll
Wow.
tell you, I just rewatched Training Day, which I really like. I like quite a bit. And it was
Yeah.
watching that. It was like, oh man, Denzel's been doing the action stuff a lot longer,
Mhm.
way
Yeah.
before The Equalizer,
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
there's
yeah,
there,
yeah.
there's not a lot of fighting in that movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the one fight scene that happens, like, yeah, this guy, he's real good at it.
Yeah.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
Book of Eli, he kicks ass. In
Oh
Book
my
of
Well,
Eli.
God.
I wasn't even thinking about Book of
He
Eli.
rocks the shit.
I
in that
think he
movie.
might be a little old now, but back in
Mhm.
back in the day when I always thought he'd make a good Slade Wilson.
Deathstroke.
Yeah,
Oh.
if you want somebody that has that,
Too-
like, oh, this guy could go toe to toe with pretty
I
much
think-
anybody.
I think he is too good of an actor for Deathstroke.
Yeah, you might be right.
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Like Deathstroke, to me, my favorite is Ron Perlman doing the voice in the Teen Titans cartoon.
Mhm.
When you take the Ron Perlman type of actor, I
Yeah.
love Ron, but I think he definitely has a specific flavor.
Yeah,
But Denzel comes in, and I think Denzel is like he's like more human
yeah.
Mhm.
in a way, right? Ron is just such like a you could cast him as any level of bad guy.
Right.
Any level of
right.
criminal, he's in a, and he's not even super tall.
Right.
He just has that presence that he's at a table and he tells you anything and you're like, this guy's going to cut my balls off.
Yeah.
But Denzel comes in, and if I can't imagine him talking about, he'd be like, I'm going to kill Robin. I'm going to kill him right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill this boy.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill this boy. Like, it's just like too much. Like,
Yeah.
he need, like that character needs to almost be more simple and more like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Versus Denzel, who has like a whole, like sucks you in, and he's got a humanity, and like, yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
But action wise, yeah, he'd be.
Yeah,
God.
Because even something like Tragedy Macbeth, there's a few scenes where it's like, yeah, this guy's the equalizer. You got to.
Yes.
To your point, I know with Fast X, Alan Richardson, we were talking about.
Oh yeah.
He has.
Are you gonna say him for Perry White?
No.
That's
no,
insane.
no.
He'd be more jacked than Superman.
But when you're talking about
Hey, Superman, get out there.
no, but when
Say
you're talking
some
about
shit.
like that type of like actor, he's got some scenes in that movie with actors that are more accomplished, but he understands what movie he's in, and he's a better fit
100%.
for that because it's like, he
100%.
gets it.
Yeah.
If Denzel Washington
He's in on
was,
the joke.
was
Yeah.
Deathstroke, I would be like, why are you picking on these kids?
Yeah, exactly.
But Ron Perlman as Deathstroke is almost like, oh, dude, you're kind of fucked up and maybe a little pathetic. And like, I get that you're trying to get revenge on these kids. But Denzel would be like, you're too smart. Go bother somebody else. What are you doing?
The perfect Ron Perlman casting that we missed. We missed the boat for is The Thing. He would have been a perfect The Thing.
Yeah. He's good.
Grim The Thing.
The only thing is he Jewish? I don't know if
He
Ron
is.
Perlman's Jewish.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
He is,
I believe.
and he's
I
got
believe
the blue
he is.
eyes, I think,
Yeah.
doesn't he? Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean,
God.
yeah.
And he's
He
not tall. He's only like 6 foot.
Yeah.
Like, he's not tall.
I mean, that would have been perfect for the Tim Story
Yeah,
time period, right?
Yeah,
Would've been.
and it's a bummer, but
Damn.
Evan Moss is great, and I'm excited to see him in the role.
Yeah.
Oh, Evan
and
Moss
Chickless
Backrack,
did a
yeah.
good job too.
Yeah,
Michael
yeah,
Chiklis
yeah.
was good. I liked him in that.
Everyone
Anyway.
forgets Jamie Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And Fant Four
for
Stick.
reasons.
Yeah.
Good cast in other movies. They're good in other movies.
Yeah. But
Leo,
Aisha,
absolutely
can you-
disagree.
But Aisha agrees. Okay. Leo went and saw Dune too. All right. But Aisha agrees. Yes, DJ.
Yeah.
About Ron Perlman as the
Yeah,
thing, I imagine.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, he would've been
Tom
real
Cruise
good.
is Perry White. No way.
Oh my
no
God!
way.
But he's got a
Too little.
No, he plays the
short.
character from
Tropic
Thunder. He's just
I will
dancing.
What if
rain hellfire on you.
What if Ron
Scorched
Perlman was Perry
earth.
White?
Ron Perlman would be good.
Ah,
That'd be a
maybe
good one.
too mean.
Yeah,
He's got to have
maybe.
some heart. The
Yeah.
thing
Because
about,
he's not Jay Jonah. He's not JJ.
right. The
Right.
thing about
Yeah,
Larry
yeah, yeah.
Fishburne is that he had both.
Yeah.
Right.
Is he could do the sort of Jay Jonah like chewing you out,
Yeah.
but he would say a thing like he said it to the Jenny character in like the
Yeah.
first Man of Steel, where you're like, oh, this guy, like
Yeah.
that's what Perry White. You're right. He's not J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, okay, so DJ, we haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, but like, what are your thoughts about Superman Legacy?
Hopeful, cautiously optimistic.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think the casting so far has been really good. I like the Corn Sweat is the actor.
Corn Sweat?
Corn Sweat.
Sure.
David Corn
David
Sweats.
Corn Sweat. I liked him a lot in X.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's really
Small
good in
role,
that.
but he was
Small
good.
role, but he's good in it. He's
Yeah.
got the look.
It's a horror film.
Yeah,
cool.
Ty
Yeah.
West,
Cool.
Mia Goth, and Jenna Ortega.
We saw that together, right? Or did we see
Oh, yeah,
Pearl?
we
we saw
did.
Pearl
We saw
together.
Pearl together.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I think no, and that's what he's in
Stupid.
Pearl. He's not in X. He's,
He's
in
in
Pearl.
Pearl.
Yeah, he's in Pearl.
You guys are
Hey,
such
man.
good friends.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh my
Great.
God.
No, but I think the casting is good. I don't necessarily love the Guardians movies as much as everybody else, but I loved the Suicide Squad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love Peacemaker.
Interesting.
Those
are very different tones than Superman.
They
though.
are though.
Yeah.
And I would say even Guardians is Guardian.
Yes,
you know,
yes, yes,
Superman
very
is
different.
not kind of he's not a misfit typically.
This is why I was so excited to talk about this with you.
Yeah.
This is why I was excited. Augustine went on vacation.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Because I was like, oh, we can bring it because I know Superman is Adam is a massive Superman
Yeah.
fan. That's his number one character.
Yeah.
That's his number one guy.
That's my number one guy.
And Superman, is he your number one DC hero? Who's your
Yeah.
guy? It's Superman.
I
Cool.
think it's Superman.
I like meeting people who they prefer Superman over Batman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not common. Very interesting.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like when I
Batman's
yeah.
badass. He's
Sure,
got
he
a
is.
car
I
in the
love
tech.
Batman. I love
Yeah.
Batman, but I love
Yeah.
Superman a little bit more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is coming from somebody who like I met Kevin Conroy and spoke with him, and I
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
am like I love Kevin's Batman. I love Batman.
It's still the voice I hear when I read
Yep.
Batman
Oh,
comics.
But
yeah.
Superman is just I have the place in my heart for him. So I was so excited to hear your take on like this casting, on the James Gunn of it,
Yeah.
on yeah,
If James Gunn is coming in and saying, "I want to do something different,"
yes,
if he's going to meet Superman on Superman's terms,
right,
which I feel like everything I've been seeing
Yep.
implies that.
Yep.
And he's like, "I want to do something a little bit different. I want to change, kind of, just expand my form a little bit."
Mhm.
Awesome. If he's going to try and pull Superman to him, which
his
you could
sensibilities.
argue we had with the previous iteration of Superman, where the creator was like, "I'm going to
Right.
make Superman on my
Mine,
terms."
yeah.
That's true.
It will probably still be a very watchable, entertaining movie,
Right.
but I'm still waiting for
yeah,
that
what do you want in a Superman movie?
definitive
Okay.
Superman.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Chris Reeves is great, but that's been 50
40,
years.
yeah.
45 years now.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And so I'm still like and even though I'm more of a Superman guy, I think it's unarguable that Batman has a better movie track record
Yeah.
For sure.
from Tim Burton
And a better
to
comics record.
Yeah,
Because I think most creators tend to relate
Want
to
to do
him,
Batman.
want
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
Batman.
and so like you got Tim Burton, you got the Chris Nolan, and now you got the Matt Reeves that are all
Mhm.
bangers in different ways, and
Right.
each one of them you could argue is a definitive Batman. As a Superman fan, I want that movie. This
Right.
is the Superman movie I've always wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a
We-
big ask. But
Wes
it
Wes
is.
has a great comment here in the chat. I want to leave Superman Legacy feeling better about humanity.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
That's-
I
yeah.
kind of feel like that's
That's a high
part of
bar.
the job
That's
of
a
a
high
Superman
bar.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think also the title is interesting, and I think
Yeah.
we've chatted about this a little bit. You're calling the movie Superman Legacy.
Mm.
Are you? I'm so curious, like what the story exactly entails. Is it talking about what Superman's legacy means to the fictional DC universe? Is it what he means to our real world, or is it what does Superman just mean as a idea? Kind of like how Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm
Mhm.
interested to see
Mhm.
whether or not we're going to explore some of that stuff.
yeah.
And like, is this movie going to sort of define what Superman's legacy is in that universe? And will it kind of pave the road forward for what the expectation for the other heroes should potentially be?
Do we? Sorry.
I was just gonna say, great comment here from Kira. I didn't get into Superman until Superman and Lois.
So
Yeah.
I love Superman.
Dude,
and
that's
Lois.
that's
It's a
so
solid take.
interesting to me.
Have
Yeah.
you guys seen My Adventures with Superman?
We haven't.
I've
I
seen
haven't
one, maybe 2 episodes, but then I
Yeah.
stopped because I was like, I think I'm gonna watch it with.
It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Really good.
yeah.
And it's a great entryway for younger people that may not be familiar.
yet. Mhm.
Yep.
But I feel like, do we know that Supergirl's going to be in this? Have they confirmed
We
that?
don't. The only thing that I
Oh, but they announced her casting. That's right. So you
Yeah.
put her in the graphic.
Yeah.
You made it official, dude.
Yeah, I know. Maybe that's why James Gunn didn't share it.
Yeah. And
I
think,
put him and I put Sean Gunn as Maxwell Lord.
yeah, I think-
But when I did some additional reading, it sounds like they will be referenced in the film, but they may not actually end up being in the film.
it wouldn't surprise me if this pulls. A lot of these comic adaptations, they're loosely adapted from runs or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I wouldn't surprise me if she is in it. If this pulls from Jeff Johns, and I believe it was Gary Frank's Brainiac.
Oh,
arc,
God, I
because she
love that.
features in that. And
Mhm.
the rumor I've
Yeah.
heard, and maybe just wishful thinking on my part, is that the main villain's going to be Brainiac.
Dude.
I have heard some of that stuff too.
So
yeah.
what? During the table read, that actor was just off to the side. Again,
I
it's
don't know.
Denzel. It's
Yeah,
Denzel
Denzel.
Washington
I mean,
right
on
there.
the
Like,
side.
you know.
Brainiac's a really. I've thought about like who would be the
God.
ideal Brainiac, and it's tricky not to fall into like, wait, what's Hugo Weaving doing? Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right,
that
right,
feels like an
right.
easy trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's another thing where it's like we've had 50 years of Superman movies and we haven't done Brainiac
I know,
once.
dude.
We've
Once?
only had General Zod mostly.
Yeah.
No, dude.
And these weird
Yeah.
offshoots of like kind of a Bizarro, but not a Bizarro in Superman 3, kind of a Bizarro, but not a Bizarro in Superman 4, but he's
Yeah.
made out of Superman's DNA,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Kind of a
What are we trying to
Bizarro,
do
but
here?
Not really in Superman and Lois. It's like this
Right.
weird other like Bizarro universe.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
But yeah.
then we
Yeah.
had like a Doomsday who's not really Doomsday, but it was the DNA of General Zod and looked like a
Right.
cave troll, and you're like, what's
Yeah.
happening here? We're
Yeah.
already killing Superman in the second movie?
I-
Anyway.
yeah.
Wait, so as somebody that's you guys have obviously talked about it, but as a guest here again, thank you
Mm-hmm.
for having me. What are you guys? Are you like super stoked, Superman Legacy, way on board, cautiously optimistic?
I think I'm cautiously
Mhm.
optimistic, but I am
Yeah.
optimistic.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's kind of like you said. Like even if this movie misses the mark, I think it's still going to be a good movie.
Yeah.
It's James Gunn
Yeah.
writing and directing it, and I do love that cast. And I
Yeah.
think I'm very excited to see Rachel Brosnahan do Lois Lane. To see Metamorpho and Guy Gardner and all these characters that I really love. Like
Yeah.
something. They're in it at least a little bit. Like
Yeah.
all that stuff is really exciting. The same way that like I thought the Black Adam movie was bad, but the Justice Society was pretty. At least Doctor
Yeah.
Fate was like
Dr.
pretty
Fate.
awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
Dr. Fate was cool.
so I had a
yeah.
good time watching that. And when that movie was over, I was like, "This is all bad. Burn it all to the ground."
Yeah.
But I got,
Reboot.
I
And you
got
also
a
got
little
the
pierce.
best Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah, moment.
He smiled once, and I was like, "Hey!"
So I'm more optimistic even at the filmmaking level,
Yeah.
obviously, than
Yeah.
I am for some of that DCEU stuff. But I do feel like this movie has a lot. I can't remember the last time, especially a superhero comic book movie, to me personally, and I think to like business, had this much pressure on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
The Force Awakens,
Maybe.
Yeah.
like, but this might have less pressure than The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
But I still think The Force Awakens was coming from frankly, like an easier place
Mhm.
from Revenge of the
From the
Sith and the
prequels,
prequels to be
yeah.
like, well, how about this? And it's like, yeah, man, you pretty much did it. Like
Yeah.
that, you guys didn't fuck this up.
And they had 10 years of,
Yep, yep, yep.
of a gap,
But
basically.
this is
like
Henry,
right
Henry
off the
Cavill was in a movie as Superman like
a
2
year and a
years
half ago.
Year and a half
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a TV show on right
Right.
now, and
And a
there
cartoon,
you know,
and
so,
so much stuff is going on.
But the reason I'm cautious is because of kind of what we're talking about of like, did James Gunn, because he does have Metamorpho in this and Guy Gardner, and it's his buddy Nathan Fillion, who I love, but it's like that's his buddy Nathan Fillion, like
Right.
in the same way that like some of the Suicide Squad and some of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are that James Gunn sensibility being inserted into those universes. It works,
Yeah.
but I'm like, but that works for Guardians and Suicide Squad.
Right.
I don't know if that thing of like, I brought in my buddy, I think he'd be perfect as this character, and there's going to be this funny scene, and I'm like, that makes me nervous that this is happening in this first Superman
Yeah.
film.
Sean Gunn as Maxwell Lord. It's like, oh, I like Sean Gunn.
Yeah.
But as Maxwell Lord?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're coming off of Pedro Pascal, who didn't have a good script to work with.
Yeah.
As
I always
Pedro
forget that. I
Pascal.
always
Yeah.
forget that he's in that movie.
Yeah.
So I'm cautious about it, but I can't help but be excited about the fact
Yeah.
that it's like promising to be a legit Clark Kent, Superman, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen,
Right.
Lex Luthor,
Yeah.
movie, which we haven't
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
since
And
you
Skylar Gazondo.
Mhm.
That's
Is
Jimmy
Olsen
Fallon.
is
Jimmy
like-
Jimmy
yeah,
Fallon.
it's
It's Jimmy
Jimmy Fallon.
Olsen. He's Jimmy.
Too many
Olsen.
Jimmys.
Yeah, if-
Superman's pal, Jimmy Fallon. I mean, Jimmy Olsen.
Anybody that watches Righteous Gemstone, it's like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
good
know.
job.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I always go back and I think about Donner, and I think about when he talks about reading the first draft of the script from Mario Puzo, and how it was like Telly Savalas and all these like cracking jokes and shit, and he was like, no,
Yep.
it's got to be true to Superman.
Yep.
So him and Mankiewicz went through
Ernest.
and like completely not completely, but they redid a lot of the dialogue to make it really feel more like an honest, earnest take on Superman.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at this movie, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I do like the Guardians movies quite a bit. I think 3 maybe being my favorite.
Yeah, same.
And I love the Suicide Squad. But like you're saying, they're very much James Gunn's take on the characters
Yeah.
in some ways.
And they're characters he gets to do that with.
Right,
Like nobody's
exactly.
like, wait, that's not accurate to Polka Dot Man.
right, because who
Yeah.
the fuck is reading those comic
Nobody
books?
gives a shit.
Yeah.
He was very smart to take that stuff on.
Exactly.
I'll take Guardians of the Galaxy, please. I'll
Yeah.
do that. Great.
I mean, and
Yeah.
I think that's why it's such a smart move. And I'm not saying that Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner are necessarily obscure characters, but
I mean,
compared to what,
Yeah,
They are.
compared
That's
when you
true.
stack them next to Superman and Batman,
That's
yeah,
true.
they kind of are.
Yeah.
So he has some flexibility to kind of be a little bit more creative. But with Superman, especially when you're following in the footsteps of the Christopher Reeve movies, and even honestly, like there are a lot of Superman and Lois fans, and also, yeah, you're
The
kind
Man
of
of
having to
Steel
compete
fans.
with the
Yeah.
Man of Steel fans.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a very fine line, and you have to kind of walk it almost perfectly. But it's like you're saying, like he kind of needs to meet Superman halfway. It's not,
Yeah.
pulling Superman all the way to his side.
Yeah.
The one benefit I do think he has, and that's because with the tightrope, you're 100% right. But the one caveat he might have is that the Man of Steel fans will not like anything he does.
Right.
So he doesn't really have to
Freedom.
worry
And
about
he's
them.
talked about that. It's
Freedom.
like we knew we were walking into a
Yep.
very fractious space, and
Yep.
we know that. I mean,
Yep.
he basically said like, "I know I'm never going to win any these particular people over,
Yeah.
so I'm good with that. I just want to make the people who love Superman
yeah.
as Superman to love him in this movie." Which I'm
Yeah.
like, cool, man. That's tough.
As I'm hearing you guys talk about it and talk about the Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner movie, and then the Zack Snyder Man of Steel movie, and how like we haven't gotten Brainiac, we haven't gotten.
Yeah.
Right.
I
so
think-
many. Yeah.
I remember when Man of Steel came out, and I was very excited about. Okay, we got this one out of the way. the next one's going to be this beginning of like the DC Comics universe,
Right.
and it didn't
It did
work
not,
for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm so excited about this, and maybe this is where the Superman legacy part comes in, because you mentioned like it could be referring to like the legacy that he influences in his own fictional world.
Right.
After the first Richard Donner movie, which I do think is so far maybe the strongest origin of Clark Kent Superman, if you don't count like certain moments in Smallville,
Sure,
or if
Yeah.
you
sure,
don't, you know,
sure.
or like the animated shows, which the Superman the animated series is still like top. It's,
Yeah.
it's
So
up
good.
there. It is wild that there has never, because Warner Brothers never operated like this. And I think James Gunn, if anything, he
Gets
is the
that.
person to come in and go, but I understand DC Comics.
Yeah.
And you guys have been scared of doing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And I understand that like the first Superman movie, an origin or whatever,
Y'all made Batman and Robin, but you're scared of the DC universe. Come on.
like Superman origin has been done to the point where everybody knows it.
Yeah.
The Batman as well.
Yeah.
And even with Matt Reeves, I was personally like hoping it was going to be more of the comic book sort of, not shared universe, but like lived in, like, oh, there's this and this. But it felt so isolated.
Yeah.
And it was really well done, but it felt sort of like, okay, you're doing what Christopher Nolan did.
Yeah.
And we're just doing it over here in a different flavor. But there still hasn't been that committal to do, frankly, Superman or Batman in this kind of shared universe way where they work, because the Zack Snyder direction didn't work
Yeah.
with them or Wonder Woman. Didn't work. That first Wonder Woman movie, a miracle in
Yeah.
the midst of their plans that were
Yeah.
constantly shifting and all that other bullshit that executives are messing with. I recognize that. But like, what if this is a movie that it's going to start and it's going to have that core Superman feeling, but it's already in a world where it's like, yeah, we're good. We're not going to do the origin.
Yeah.
There's already been a Justice League.
Yeah.
There's we're going into it. We're moving. And
Right.
James Gunn can recognize the benefit of having years behind these fictional worlds to be able to tell specific stories and pull things from DC Comics.
Yeah.
Supergirl is a big one. Like
Mhm.
that whole thing, like the fact that they had that open pod in Man of Steel,
Right.
but no actor cast for Supergirl, something that was maybe relayed in like a
Right.
comic book.
It
like,
was, yeah.
there was never a committal
A
to
Man
be
of Steel
like,
prequel comic.
Yeah.
there was never right after we do Man of Steel, we're going to do a Supergirl film,
Yeah.
because nobody ever saw the vision. Nobody ever understood the greatness of being
Right.
able to get to those moments. And I think Marvel Studios in the past 10 years has understood it. They know the benefit of building something up and being able to pay off stuff. Which goes even further than just normal, typical Hollywood sequel movie making.
Yeah.
Because Hollywood understands sequels. Oh,
Yeah.
great, we can do part 2 and part 3 and part 4.
Mhm.
But the whole comic book knowing each other, characters knowing each other in the
Right.
universe is different than that.
Yeah.
It's like that exponential potentially, you know.
Right.
But so James knows it. So maybe he's delivering a Superman that's gonna have that feel, but is already like, we're gonna get into the good stuff. you
Yeah,
know?
and I hope he is just caught, because I don't want, because your point with the Batman Begins in the films is totally valid. But yeah, I am a little concerned. It's like, I hope he's not crowded out by
right.
these weird, because James Gunn
Right.
loves his weirdos.
Right.
Yeah.
But he does have an opening here that, for as difficult as the situation is, he has an opening here, because however you feel about the current MCU output, I think it's safe to say that they're at their lowest ebb.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so
haven't
there was a
built- yeah,
window for him
yep,
to say,
yep.
this is what we're doing. And he also has the benefit of they pave the way for, he can have a movie if he wanted to where crypto's around,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
the MCU's already introduced
Yep.
the
Right.
wider world to
Weirder
weird
shit,
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then all those elements, and also Captain America, who I would argue is theoretically harder to adapt than
Yes.
Superman is,
Yes.
and is, I would argue, the most successful, at least one of the most successful
Oh, totally.
components of the MCU.
Totally.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll helps lay the runway
Yeah.
for that. And I think, we're talking about Supergirl, but I also think they're laying the groundwork for, it's got to be JLI, right? The Guy
Yeah,
Gardner
and
Metamorpho.
and I'm like nervous
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, so okay, Justice League International was that weird lineup of roster of characters,
Yeah.
right? They were just
Nort.
Nort was
Yeah.
the Green Lantern
Yep.
from space, this weird Chewbacca looking guy.
Yeah.
They had Blue Beetle and Booster Gold,
Yep.
which is exciting, but like the Ted Kord Blue Beetle. They had like Fire and Ice and all these, and Maxwell Lord.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're gonna do in this universe. Okay, there's been a Justice League,
Mhm.
like the first iteration.
Right.
Maybe allowing our memory of like the Zack Snyder / Joss Whedon Justice League lineup to kind of be like, it was kind of like that.
Yeah,
Maybe we have different actors, but it was who you remember:
Yeah.
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman,
Right.
Flash,
Green
and Green
Lantern.
Lantern.
Yeah.
But now, at this point in Superman Legacy and in the current DCU,
Yeah.
it's going to be JLI
Yeah.
for like a couple of years, and then something will happen where it's like, okay, we got to get the band back together, and it's
Right.
going to be Corn Sweat, Superman. It's going to be new Batman actor.
Yeah.
It's going to be new Wonder Woman actor,
Right.
and then like Wally West Flash and
Yeah.
like Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. And they're
Gimme.
gonna
Yeah.
do that sort of Grant Morrison JLA lineup at least. Like fucking Plastic Man will be on that team,
Yeah.
and it'll have
Ben
the feeling.
Schwartz.
Yes, it'll have the feeling that the comics did when they sort of brought back those core 7, like the
Yeah.
original 7. It was a big deal in the comics
Yeah,
because they had those 90s and 80s years of Justice League where it's kind of a bunch of random,
Yeah.
you know, almost like the B and C list.
Firestorm and
Yeah.
All, for sure, which
Yeah.
are great characters,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you gotta. And
holy
then
fuck! If they do a Firestorm movie, damn.
Sure,
Well,
man,
and you
do
can
it.
kind of see where I don't know that this is where they're going, but the narrative there, like if you have that team of goofballs
Yep.
against something like the Authority,
Right.
Yep.
the narrative kind of writes itself because these guys are psychos at the top of their game, and we're left with the Z team, like
Yep.
where you know,
Right.
and then you build to like my only issue with that is I don't want to wait that long.
I know.
I'm fine with announce a JLA movie the year after Superman. I'm good with that.
I
Like,
know, but it also might make sense for. Look, it might be creatively. I get excited about that notion because it feels like it's a path. It's a direction to go somewhere to make like Justice League matter again.
Yeah.
It's almost like James Gunn and team are going to give us a shitty Justice League to be like, you want to see a shitty Justice League?
Yeah.
Here's a shitty Justice League.
Yeah.
Lovable characters. Like I still love Ted Kord and
Yeah.
you know Booster Gold, but like here's what. They're in the background. They're not going to get their own movie, but like, here's these shitheads.
Yeah.
And then maybe some of them get killed off, or Maxwell Lord gets revealed to be that evil son of a bitch that he is,
Yeah.
and that's what causes like the 7 to come back, and not in
Right.
like from the boys in a sarcastic way, but
yeah.
for you to really feel like,
Yeah.
oh
the
shit,
core ones, and you
Oh,
can
the
even
core
have
ones.
like a character like Jaime Reyes, like comment like, "Wait, these are the." Like I
Yeah.
get to be part of the Justice League, and then
Yeah.
he gets there, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
these
These
guys."
Yeah. But then this also might be like a financial thing for James Gunn and Peter Safran to hold back and to know, like, we're gonna tell Warner Brothers we're doing all this other shit.
Yeah.
It's not Justice League, not Justice League.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Warner Brothers might be freaking out about how bad that movie
Yeah,
did.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like let us cook for a little bit, and then we
Right.
will give you a great Justice.
I mean,
League.
that's part of what I'm really interested to find out, and I'm sure at some point we'll figure it out. But like, how many years into this
Yeah.
DC universe are we in? Like,
Yeah.
how long has Superman been around?
Yeah.
How
Yep.
long has Batman been around? If his Robin is Damian Wayne, have all the other ones already happened? Is he older?
I
Is he
hope so.
you know like
the,
all that
the,
sort of
the
stuff?
awkward thing is, I think we talked about this before.
Yeah.
But y'all remember when like Henry Cavill had to announce he's not
Right.
Yep.
Superman,
Yeah.
and part of the narrative was like James Gunn coming out and saying like Henry is an actor who he never, I don't think officially said is too old.
Yeah,
He just said Henry Superman can't deliver the story we're trying to tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I think other people are like, oh, it's like a younger Superman. And I think James Gunn just kind of let
Let it
everybody
go.
say that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, it's not. Like,
Yeah.
you just know he is a limited actor
Mm-hmm.
who can't do, you know, and he comes with the baggage of all the stuff that
Yeah.
people
Right,
didn't
right,
like.
right,
And I
right.
think that when this movie comes out, it's going to be like, Superman's been Superman for 10 years.
Yep.
Right.
And everyone's going to go, oh, fuck, Henry could have played
Gunn
this
could've
role.
played
Yeah, well,
this
I think the
easily.
reason is, and actually, I like, I'm a fan. I was going to say I'm a fan of The Witcher. I'm a fan of Henry Cavill in
Right.
The
The
Witcher.
first
yeah.
two, three
Great.
seasons.
But
yeah.
Great.
if I were James, I'd also want a Superman. I don't want a Superman that broke somebody's neck.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I truly think Ben Affleck cast as Batman is great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that Batman either.
Yeah.
Dude
Yeah.
killed
Do you
people
think
in
we'll
his car.
see-
I can't
Yeah,
work with
so
that
many
Batman.
people were killed in Batman v Superman. Do you guys think post credit scene we'll see? Because we already have a director for the Batman in universe Batman movie. Do you think post credit scene we'll see like Batman and Superman smooch or something?
God, how hyped would that be, dude?
Yeah.
If they cast an actor that it's so tough because they found an unknown for Superman.
Right.
Relatively
Relatively
unknown.
unknown. Yeah.
Okay.
Which it feels like Superman's the one we get to do that with.
Yeah,
Everybody
every
else is like,
time.
got to be a name.
Every time, yeah.
So, and then with Batman being maybe around his age, it kind of doesn't matter because a Batman who's around Corn Sweat's age, around 30,
Yeah.
could still have a 10 or 12-year-old that he had with Talia, and that's going to be Damian Wayne.
You could even fudge the numbers and say that was when he was training to be Batman.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Oh, he was around
right.
the desert, and he met Ra's al Ghul and Talia, his daughter, and they had a love affair, and he was 20.
Yeah,
right.
So now he has a 10-year-old.
And let's say he's 35.
If he's 35, now he's a 12-year-old. So he had him when he was 22, but then didn't know, and she got pregnant. You could fudge that.
Yeah.
But so it's like you could have an actor still technically around Cornsweat's age, so they have that similarity, but he's a Batman. It's like, I've been Batman for 15 years. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So he still has a little bit of, because I just think everybody's so used to Batman being older than us psychologically.
Yeah.
He's not. But we're so used to that that it's weird to watch Batman Begins now and he's turning 30.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's 6 years younger than me, Christian Bale. This is so weird. Like, I think everybody's okay with not a kid, young Batman.
Yeah.
And the beauty of that is if you get to do that, you can jump into the how established is Gotham City.
Right.
It's so established that he has a 10-year-old kid. He's had his Damian Wayne. He's had a Nightwing. He's had a second Robin.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Mwah. So they could cast an actor, maybe a known actor.
Yeah.
And then bring him in for a mid-credit. That would be oof.
I kind of feel like we're at the point now where, for whatever reason, I don't feel like Batman needs to be an actor who is as unknown as David Cornsweat. I feel like he doesn't have to be super, like Robert Pattinson to me is established more than enough.
Oh, for sure.
And
for
if they got another actor of that, like established sort of caliber, I'd be fine with it.
Who the hell could do it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have anybody in mind?
Let's do Glenn Powell since he's the hot.
He's the hotness right now.
I saw the comment in the chat. It may have been Wes earlier that was saying Alex Puccinelli, our friend for Booster Gold, who's somebody that I've been gunning for a long time.
Yeah.
But also don't say John Hamm for Batman. Don't say the
Too
actor
late.
from Preacher. Don't there's so many easy fan casts.
Reacher,
I think Reacher. What did I say? Preacher?
Yeah.
Not Preacher. That Seth Rogen produced
I think
show.
I think you need someone probably. Well, David Cornsweat. I think when they did the auditions, it was like they were looking for like 26 to 30.
Yeah.
So I think Batman, you could easily do 30 to 35.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Easily.
You could do 30 to 40.
You know what?
You could.
Robert Downey was what, 38 when he got cast as
Yeah.
Iron Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keaton was 37 when he played Batman.
My one issue with that is being Batman. I feel is more physically taxing
It
than being
is.
Iron Man. Not
Oh,
like
for
as a
sure.
character, as an actor.
I got you.
yeah.
No, I think that whoever they cast as this Batman would need to be. No offense to Ben Affleck. No offense to Affleck.
Yeah.
I know he loves his Dunkin'.
Yeah.
I know he loves. I know he smokes cigarettes. I know.
Yeah.
I don't expect him in that version of Batman, the sort of grizzled. Didn't want him to be like very physical character, but you almost want to find an actor kind of like a Tom Holland when he auditioned for Spider-Man. He's like, I could do a backflip and just did it.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, you do have to find an actor, 35, 40, who's just like, I hit the gym every day.
Yeah.
Or I have like certain training. I'm a climber. Or something where you're just like, oh my God, you have a lot of strength. You could do stunt stuff.
You know what I think would be interesting is if we switch it up. Actually, I guess we are kind of already doing this, is for some reason we've gotten in our head that Batman needs to be, and I think it's the Dark Knight Returns effect. He needs to be like shredded, like he needs to be huge. And it's like Batman doesn't.
We need that
Superman
slim
needs to be
ninja.
jacked. Yeah, and it would be a good physical difference from if Superman's over here jacked.
Yeah.
And Batman, I need to be able to slip around. I've got my tech. I've got that. And I guess we've already kind of like Robert Pattinson isn't like huge in that movie.
No, but that worked. And when that movie came out, people commented, they're like, it works in this because Pattinson's playing him like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Right.
So you believe that he just goes into a club and he's like, I'm going to beat the shit out of everyone. And he's like a skinny guy. And you buy it. So,
we've talked about like we like some of the artists that immediately came to mind was like Neil Adams, how he drew Batman.
Yes.
He was more toned and he wasn't big and bulky. Because you're right, it is the Dark Knight Returns effect.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've even admitted like that was the inspiration for that Batman. So it makes sense why he was so enormous. And I get it. And he's a brawler and he could run through a wall. And I get all that. Sure. But I would like to see something that's more like Batman the Animated Series, where he's like he was still kind of built big, but he still had that very fluid, fast movement.
Honestly, here's the physicality. It's just a Chris Evans.
Yeah,
that dude hit the gym, but he was also like. I mean, he may have been a little juiced.
Yeah, I would say Chris
normal.
Evans even too
much,
maybe a little too big.
Yeah,
but Chris Evans had that triangle shape. Of like that's all. I don't need a
Thor, Superman, Captain America, more Batman, kind of.
Sort of like that. And as you guys are describing too, what I would love is a Batman that when he gets Dick Grayson Robin earlier-ish in his career, it kind of makes sense that Robin basically continues his acrobaticness.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
right.
for Nightwing, I would want to find an actor
Yeah.
mid-20s, late 20s that's like, oh, I also was in Cirque du Soleil,
Right.
like
Yeah.
legitimately,
Can
more
do the
so,
stunts,
more
yeah.
so than like a seasoned actor. Get me a Dave Bautista physical performer who can do that, and then
You want Dave Bautista to be Nightwing?
Yeah,
I get you. I hear you. Yeah.
But like Batista came from the physical world of
Right,
wrestling, and
right,
you know,
right.
and look at how great his acting career has turned out. If you can find an actor legitimately that has like acrobatics and gymnastics
Yeah.
to do Nightwing, but he's a really good-looking young guy, that's it.
Yeah.
We'll help you with your acting. You're not
Right.
going to
Yeah.
have to like win an Oscar with your acting talent.
Yeah.
But if your ass looks great in that suit,
Yeah.
and you can do
If
the
the
sort
cheeks
of
are good.
there you go,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can do the sort of flips that you
Yeah.
go, oh dang,
Yeah.
that's it. And if a Batman is the person who can kind of seemingly help continue to train that,
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's easier for
Jada
me
said
right now.
Cap had a slutty little waist.
that's it.
That's
it.
Ethan Peck is Batman. That's not bad. I like him as
whoa.
fuck. He's got that deep voice. I like his voice.
Yeah. I wonder about
Batman's tricky. I get why people
yeah.
go with.
You know why I say no to Ethan? I love him. I think that he's too nice. I think he's too nice to be Batman.
Yeah.
You haven't seen him yet. He's a
No.
great Spock.
Yeah, he's
and
really
And
good.
he's really like likable.
Yeah.
Even when he is being very cold and very, you know, and I'm like, even if he's trying to
There's
be
a warmth.
serious Batman, there's a warmth and there's a boyishness to his. He's probably already almost 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but it's still like I need to find a guy who looks mean. He's got to have
It's
wrestling
tricky.
bitch face. You
It-
got to have to.
Yeah.
It's also tricky because Pattinson's right there, and I think
Yeah.
he's a good take. And again, I've said this before. If I were gonna be like, yeah, the Batman was the first
You
DCU
would?
movie, I would.
I wouldn't.
Because that movie reminded me of
wouldn't.
Batman the Animated Series. Like it
Yeah,
felt
it
like
did.
the closest adaptation,
Yeah,
like a
it did.
live action adaptation of that show.
Yeah.
The argument
That's
I heard.
how I felt too.
Yeah, and it was one of those. Yeah, start here. This is it. I'm
Yeah.
totally okay if Gotham feels like it comes from a different universe than Metropolis.
Sure.
Because
I
it
agree with
should
that.
feel that way.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
agree
makes
with
the
that.
interaction cool. I'll tell you this though, if Superman Legacy has me, and in post-credit or mid-credit scene they have him meet Batman,
Yeah.
I will react as if it's the first time.
I know.
I just realized
I
that.
know.
I'll be like,
yeah.
oh,
You
it's
guys, I'm
happening."
getting myself too excited about this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
pull back. I'm
Yeah.
getting.
Well, no, and I mean I agree with you because it's exactly what you're saying. If the movie wins me over and the movie's firing on all cylinders,
Yeah.
and I'm into it, and I'm invested, I'm watching, I'm going, this has been the best Superman movie in 45 years.
Yeah.
And Batman shows up, then I go, oh, they're gonna crush this fucking thing. It's
Yeah,
gonna be incredible.
exactly.
$1 billion franchise, we're
Exactly.
in.
In that way, in that way, I'm actually really easy to please. In that, like, at the end of the original 2017 Justice League,
Yeah.
when it's like Superman and Flash are going to race, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this is all I wanted.
I
This is
know.
all I
I know.
wanted.
I know.
You
So you left the theater like, that
Yeah.
was a good movie.
Yeah,
You're
wait
like,
a
I
second.
just wanted that.
I-
I know, man. Me too.
It's easier to cast right now because of what I'm watching. I was telling Hector I've been watching the first couple episodes of the new Avatar: Last Airbender show. Not for me, but the actor they've got playing Zuko,
Yeah.
I believe his name is Dallas Liu.
Yeah. He was in
would be-
Shang-Chi.
He was young Shang-Chi. In
No,
Shang-
he wasn't young
was not
Shang-Chi.
young
He was
Shang-Chi?
Aquafina's brother.
Oh,
He was
okay.
he was Katie's younger brother that was like
Oh, was he in
kind
the-
of giving her shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
In the room.
Yeah,
That's
in
him.
the
Well,
kitchen or
And he
whatever,
plays
yeah.
Zuko.
I don't love the new Avatar show. Zuko is my favorite character in the
Great.
original, and
Good
the
for
new
him.
in the new Zuko, I'm like, yeah, this is it. You nailed it. He'd make a good. If you can play a good Zuko, I think you can play a good Damien.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
interesting.
I think you can play a good.
That would be
a good
interesting.
Damien.
Oh,
That'd be
nice.
interesting. I would like to have Talia and Ra's al Ghul be Middle Eastern,
Yes.
but if Talia is also like Asian,
Yeah.
and then this kid is like half Asian, half Bruce Wayne, who's probably going to be a white guy. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're going to cast another white guy to be Bruce Wayne. That could be really cool.
Yeah.
That could be good. Yeah.
What do you guys make of the logo that was leaked on the?
Oh, I think Hector and I are having the same
Kingdom Come
reaction.
logo.
Yeah, same.
Actually, I don't know how. I haven't let myself think about it.
Yeah.
I have not let myself think about it.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's they wouldn't put that on a little name tag unless it's like,
It meant
gonna be the
something,
logo.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just James Gunn wouldn't randomly give an assistant like, "Hey, we need to print up name tags for this table read."
Yeah.
Just
use
pull a
whatever.
Hitman logo.
Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
Pull the Kingdom
no
Come
way.
one. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. Yeah.
Mixed because it's
I do want to clarify. Our Australian buddy Ryan Unicombe is in the chat right now, and he posts a comment: "Worst to ever do it." Arrow objectively. For sure, talking about the earlier comment, Henry Cavill was like a great Superman or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
That's
not-
Ryan's whole thing is that he's like, Henry Cavill is stinky. That's his whole
Yeah.
thing. Because there's a Jeremy Allen White as Dick Grayson. I don't think Ryan is talking
He's
about
not
Jeremy
reacting
Allen
to that
White.
one.
No.
I because it's tied to such a. I'm all for a more stylized version of the S. It's tied
Yeah.
to such a specific story
Yeah.
Right.
that feels a little
Mm-hmm.
weird to me.
Ah.
Yeah,
Would that be the legacy? Is this a time travel? Cornsweat going to come out with gray in his temples? Like, let me tell you a story.
Well, and that's the thing that I was thinking of.
I
was
like
like
that we keep calling him corn sweat.
corn sweat.
That's
yeah.
great.
Well, you know what's so funny about that? I was thinking, I saw that logo and I started thinking to myself, well, you got rid of Henry Cavill because he was too old.
Yeah.
Right. No,
And
but
now-
they see.
No,
No,
I know, I
they
know, I
didn't.
know.
They
Yeah.
technically didn't.
Yeah.
And you look at Henry Cavill now, and he's starting to grow gray in his hair, and I'm like, he kind of looks like the Kingdom Come of Superman,
Yep.
but can't act.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting choice to use that because there's so many logos you can use.
Yeah.
There's so many iterations all the way from 1939 to now. I was almost thinking that maybe they were going to go with something that's more Fleischer-esque.
Oh, I would love it.
You know,
That's
I
my
thought it'd be
favorite.
so cool,
Yeah.
But that black and red, the Kingdom Come, it does feel like that's even a reference to that.
Right.
When Alex Ross painted that for Kingdom Come, it does feel like he's like, well, I'm throwing it back to the Fleischer.
Fleischer,
Right,
yeah.
right.
You know, the
I
early-
really
I don't
like
know.
the S
Yeah.
on the black background. I
Yeah.
think that really works.
Or when
So-
Tyler Hoechlin had that outfit in
Yeah.
like the first episode of
Yep.
Superman and Lois, so that
Yep.
little flashback.
That made me so
Yeah.
happy.
God, that was awesome.
Damn,
dude.
I cried. I
Cool,
cried.
cool cape. Thanks. My mom
My
made
money
it.
for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, my
That's
God.
it. That's the tone.
That's it.
That's what
Yeah.
you're looking for. And same, yeah.
He's back. Oh.
God,
Yep.
man, that's
Yeah.
great.
But I mean, that thing disappeared so fast. So I'm like,
Yeah.
and tomorrow, we're recording this on Wednesday 28th. Tomorrow is technically Superman's birthday.
Oh, cool.
So I'm curious if we're going to. It's so weird that it's on a
Oh.
leap year, but
No.
I'm
Yeah.
so curious if James Gunn will drop something tomorrow.
A costume.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be
well, if they're
wild.
already doing
That'd
the
be
table
wild.
read, they're starting to film soon. I think
Yeah,
it's
they're
important.
filming, I think, in a few weeks.
I think it's important. I really like they were more on top of this back in the day. Before you start filming and paparazzi get snaps,
Oh,
release
right,
an
right,
official
right, right,
photo
right.
Yeah,
of the
Yes.
costume.
yeah,
I wish we'd
agree.
gotten that with the new Daredevil costume, which I think looks dope, by the
Right.
way.
Cool. The red.
The
one?
red,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like it. Just
Yeah.
give me the logo, and I'll be a happy camper.
I bet you he'll put it on in
Hey,
the last episode.
There's a empty
Yeah.
space there.
That's what I was even.
Yeah.
I was even arguing with Ryan Unicomb about that
Yeah.
on Instagram. He was like, just do this in his
Yeah.
Australian accent. He's Australian.
Yeah.
He's like, mates,
Yeah.
just come on.
Yeah.
You've got heaps and heaps of fans waiting for this.
Yeah,
And then I messaged him and I'm like, Ryan, they will either in like the Spider-Man 4 movie
yeah,
or in the last episode of this new Daredevil. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
girl, I just want an excuse to do that.
yeah.
Heaps and heaps.
But yeah, release before you start filming. Release
I
that
know,
costume
dude.
photo. Do it.
Totally,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
God.
think it's next week or in a couple weeks they're supposed to start.
Yeah,
So
next week.
it makes sense. I mean, they did do it with. That's the thing.
Here's the thing. Ryan's a leaker. You gotta, Ryan. You have to put a caveat. Is this your opinion, or is
Yeah.
this your like? You've got information. He's saying Soups' suit is going to be pastel blue trunks, yellow S on the back, and a red yellow Kingdom Come logo.
Oh,
Red yellow Kingdom Come logo.
We got
Interesting.
that
Without the
it-
black background.
At the end of Infinite Crisis with Brandon Routh's Superman,
Yeah.
had the Kingdom Come
with the
with
red
the
yellow.
With the
Yeah.
yellow.
I'm also,
Interesting.
But there was also like a lot of like context to the
Yeah,
changing
yeah,
of the
yeah,
logo. You know,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna say this possibly controversial. I am get rid of the trunks. It's the 21st century.
DJ, thanks for coming on the show,
Yeah,
man.
okay, sorry.
Yeah,
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 I don't.
get
I don't
the
know.
hell outta here.
I don't know that we need the trunk. You know, when John Cassaday redesigned Wolverine's classic
Yes.
yellow and blue costume, nobody was
no
like, "Oh,
trunks.
where's the trunks?"
I
Yeah.
know. But the difference there is John Cassidy's a great artist.
Yeah.
Who was able to do this is for the astonishing X-Men comics of like 2003.
Yeah.
And he's the one that had because for years Wolverine was not blue and yellow anymore. He was
Mhm.
like other stuff, then
Yeah.
just kind of the black leather like the
Yeah.
movies. And in the comics he came out and it was like a streamlined there was some yellow on the outside of the legs up and through the like it was enough of a color balance.
Right.
My only argument ever for the trunks is always
It breaks up.
yes, is always I get that it makes no sense contextually because in 1938
Yeah.
a strong man was a circus
Right.
strong man.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Everyone was like,
Right.
"Oh, he's a strong man."
Yeah.
I understand that makes it so you just have to like disbelief.
Yeah.
But
Right.
for me, the color, if it's going to be blue and blue, you got to have something in there and more than
Right.
just a thick belt. Like I'm like that's my only argument for it. But if there's any way to design that, and the tricky thing about Superman's costume is the more that it's like changed in the design, the more you go away from that original.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man's costume. It's
Mhm.
perfect. Like it's really tough to do
Yeah,
that.
and every time they try to change, you're like, just go back to
Yeah,
the
it's
traditional version.
just in an effort to be like, well, we're going to move away from what makes no sense, which is the red underwear
Yeah.
over his thing. I've still never seen a good enough design to
Yeah.
like justify
Why do you think
it.
that's true for Superman and not for a character like Flash? That it is all just red.
Because Flash still has that yellow belt.
Yeah.
And Flash has, that's a great question. Flash has the different components of his costume is that he's mostly the one color and with little yellow highlights and everything. But when Flash moves, it's about that like red blur,
Right.
Yeah.
that red
Okay.
and yellow blur.
Okay. Yeah.
Superman has the
it's
red
all about
cape.
the Technicolor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Superman. So it's like the balance. It's like Superman has the
Okay.
red cape, and I will say that the argument for why does it work for Batman,
Mm-hmm.
where they've moved away from like the blue and gray or the black and gray
Yeah.
to just be all black, is that I think it also, unfortunately or fortunately, kind of makes the most sense for like a real world context.
Right.
Yeah.
What does Batman need
And it's
that
mostly
suit
like
for?
an armored suit now.
Right, and it's like that's the real world. You go to
Yeah.
the Michael Keaton Batman, and that's kind of followed that rubber suit look, and the Batman Begins. Even if it's segmented, it kind of makes
Right.
the most sense for Batman's suit
Yeah.
to just be all black.
Right.
You know, the one thing that they didn't get rid of was like, we've got to have a mouth hole. That doesn't
Right.
make any sense practically. He
Right.
could get shot in the mouth.
yeah.
Right.
But they're not going to go full like helmet. You know,
Yeah.
there's certain things that they will cheat, but I think that it makes sense for Batman. But for Superman,
How did you feel about the
New 52?
Man of Steel suit?
I liked things about it, but I also think separate issue. It's over textured. I don't like a lot of superhero costumes in modern movies are over textured because I know they're purposely trying to be like, we have to spend 200 thou
Yeah.
on this costume because it
Yeah.
can't be replicated by a cosplayer. Like they get so mad
Right.
if a cosplayer can replicate it. Like we need to have an impossibly 3D printed pattern in there that you
Right.
can really only get if you're super close.
You
Like
should
they're
s-
making
you-
dollar bills or something.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should see it.
Yeah,
I think
yes,
it's I think it's
yes.
Adam Savage does like a BTS on the Aquaman suits.
Yeah.
And it's like we did all these textures and
What the
3D printed,
fuck for,
and then
dude?
it's like
What
it's
for?
molded to the body and it glistens and it shines
Unnecessary.
and you can lick it and it tastes like strawberries and you're like,
Unnecessary.
why?
Few characters need
Fucking
to
Jason Momoa, he's ripped already.
few characters exactly. God, the Rock's costume in Black Adam made
Yeah.
me mad because then when he did the flashback where he was bare chested, I was like, he's so
Oh
sickeningly
no, he
ripped.
did, but he didn't actually wear a foam suit on like a padded
No,
suit underneath.
but still, his costume took
Oh, the
away
texture.
his muscles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
totally disguised it. If he had more of like a cloth, can you imagine if he had
Like-
that like Alex Roth cloth?
Yeah.
Alex Roth
to just
cloth
suck the air
thing?
between his like body and the
Oof,
suit.
and it would show him off so
Vacuum seal
so
it.
well. But like few superhero costumes in these movies, like to me, need to look expensive.
Right.
Iron Man,
Yeah.
I guess Batman.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other costumes need to look expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
But then Peacemaker, I love that costume.
Yeah.
And that's James
good.
Gunn. So going into Superman,
Yeah.
like I agree with you, man. They should
I mean,
announce the photo.
The
Yeah.
one thing that I will give Man of Steel is that they at least made it make sense in the context of the story.
Sure.
But
Sure.
yeah, I had the same, but I had the same kind of issues with the Superman Return suit that has the red trunks.
Yeah.
It's got all like the Superman S's printed all over it, all
Yeah.
over the boots, all over the bottom of the sole, and I'm like, no one sees the bottom of his
No
feet.
one.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
And something else I'd like to see is I'd like to see the logo on the cape
That's
instead
what
of just a regular
Really?
red
Ryan
cape.
said the logo's going to be on the back of the cape, the yellow logo. I also agree. I would like to
don't
see it.
Some version of it.
necessarily
Yeah.
like need it.
Sure.
If it's there,
Yeah.
cool.
Sure.
I would use the negative space. I would let the red,
Ooh.
and just so you just have the yellow splashes where the negative space is.
I see what you're
Of the
saying.
S, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like
that
that in
could
some
look dope.
comics I've
Yeah.
seen it, right?
I think
could
that'd be
look dope.
cool.
That
Yeah.
could look cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not
It-
opposed to it.
Especially because negative space of that suit does look very Kryptonian and weird.
Yeah.
Of the S, I mean.
Yeah.
It does look like lean into that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It could be great.
Yeah.
I trust that they've got really good designers on that. It's just that one and Spider-Man, they're such difficult costumes to change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you even
You
look
know?
at the Spider-Man costume that they had on set for Tom Holland in Civil War.
Yeah.
He got completely changed in post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
Which is a
changed.
bummer. I
looked
like the
so similar.
design
Yeah.
of the Civil War suit.
Yeah.
But the one on set is like, that also looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
That looks-
Yeah.
And I am bummed that for some reason, I don't know why, this and Black Panther, they're like, it's Black Panther post Civil War. It's going to be CG. Why, man?
I know.
Just do a practical suit.
I
What are we
know.
doing?
I know.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm not the biggest fan of the CG suits.
Well, for me, it always depends on what the context is.
Yeah.
I liked their little quantum suits, especially because
Yeah,
if
it's-
yeah.
everybody gets mad at like the Ant-Man like helmet,
Yeah.
but I like that shit comes out of nowhere because it does shrink. When I learned that detail, I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
As opposed to just having like a folded over helmet that's like big on the shoulders. Now I love the Wolverine unmasked look.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to need Ant-Man shrinking tech, so
Yeah.
that should look cool.
Yeah.
But when Ant-Man joins the team of Avengers that are going to time travel and they need like quantum suits or whatever, and they're all like, I thought that was fine. I was
Yeah.
like, this is not their suits going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like if Steve Rogers had stayed in the MCU, he's not going to use that for his suit.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool for this one time, you
Yeah.
know, Avengers adventure. So
Yeah.
I liked it, but
Agreed.
it depends on what the context is, and you know, I'm obviously always going to go more practical over CG.
And I
Yeah,
know,
of
like,
course.
in stuff, how well can they make it look? Like,
Yeah.
Iron Man
Yep.
suit is mostly CG, and
Yep.
I would never be able to
Yep.
tell you.
Yep.
But, like, when I'm watching Homecoming, it's like,
Yeah.
why are we having Spider-Man running around in a CG
Well,
suit?
especially
Yeah.
well, and you know what? A lot of it too, and we know this because of people who've worked on it. A lot of the times he's wearing the suit, but they go in and they digitally remove all the wrinkles.
Why?
I know.
And I'm like,
Because I think this is, I don't know for a fact, but I think it's because most of the comics imagery of Spider-Man don't have those wrinkles. Most of them, they don't. Well, you know, it's like
it's
even the
'cause it's
notion that
comic.
like right, but even their thinking there, that's
Yeah.
probably why they justified him putting on a loose suit and then pressing a button and then sucking up to his impossible no
Yeah.
wrinkle.
right.
It's a fake technology.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not real.
But what's one of the and I don't even really like the movie that much, but the coolest part of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is that opening.
yeah,
just
The ripples on the back of the...
yeah,
And then it's
dude.
like the
Oh.
spider logo to his suit, and you're like, that looks fucking rad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it's like his suit is rippling because of
great.
course it would.
It's great, and it looks
Yeah.
great in 3D, right, DJ?
Can't confirm.
He-
Can
what?
confirm.
You can confirm.
can
Thank you. That's right.
confirm.
That's right.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
at my place. We watched it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It's dope. It's dope.
Yeah, and I think that's something they maybe they could lean into if they do a street level Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Lean
I
into the
like,
wrinkles. Lean into the.
I
yeah.
like the final suit
Yep.
again in No Way Home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CG.
Yep.
I would also argue for me a little too shiny.
Yep. Yep.
For
It
me,
is. Maybe it's just the snow reflecting off.
maybe.
Maybe
Just
it's,
a little-
maybe it's
just a
the
little
Christmas
shiny.
lights. Make them too shiny.
It would be interesting if it is the classic suit, but something I like about when I first saw it, I didn't love Robert Pattinson's The Batman suit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then seeing it within the movie, it's like, no, it's perfect that it looks like trash.
yeah.
It looks like
Yeah.
something he cobbled together.
Yeah.
He's a
And that
psychopath.
makes
Yeah.
it
Stapled
awesome.
it together,
It's cool.
fucking
You
know what I
welded
mean?
it.
or like
yeah.
the season 2 Daredevil, where he had to like repair the cowl because it like cracked.
Yeah,
and, like,
and
I
also
love that
Cowl
stuff.
2 was the helmet that
Yeah.
they go with is way better than the original Cowl. It's
yep,
so
yep.
much better.
Yep.
It's like, what if Spider-Man's suit kind of looked like trashy put
I love
together?
it. I love
Cobbled
it.
That would be
together.
ripped
great.
up
Yeah.
and shit. All
Yeah.
stitches because that's classic Spider-Man.
And it's got
stuff.
stains because he only has like maybe 2. You know?
I love it.
Yeah.
God, I
Uh,
want that. And Sony's like, what if the multiverse gives him a better upgraded tech? Stop.
Fuck
Get
off.
out of here. Get out of here.
Stop. All right, we should probably go to answer
yeah,
all these
let's answer some of
questions
these
we
Oh my
got.
God, question.
From Senator, thank you so much for that $5 super chat. Weekly pre-stream tip here. Love you guys. Side note, got my order in for Supergirl Women of Tomorrow hardcover deluxe edition comic.
You read
Very
that?
nice.
No.
Oh, it's good. Have you read that yet?
I bought it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to read it.
Ooh,
I'm
it's
bummed because
good.
I bought it and then this was announced and I was like, does anybody want my other one? And I'll buy the deluxe edition.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Tom King's an incredibly talented writer, but
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
work, he makes me sad. And so sometimes I
Yeah.
like, maybe not this time. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
that's a good
good news
point.
for you. He's on the writing team for the DC
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this one doesn't make me as sad as his other stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This one didn't make me as sad as like the Visions,
Yeah.
which kind of influenced a little bit of WandaVision,
Yeah.
that style. But there's a lot of hope in it, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, because a lot of times
Yeah,
with
yeah,
like
yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Miracle or
Yep. Oh, that's a
Strange
good
Adventures,
one.
where it's like, what if Mr. Miracle but sad?
What if
or what if Adam
what if,
Strange?
What
but
if
he's-
Darkseid represents depression? You're
Yeah.
like, fuck,
Yeah.
dude, like
Oh,
that's a great
God.
story.
Yeah.
That's great, but
And on the flip side, though, his Omega Man,
Yeah.
Omega
Yeah.
Man, excuse me, with its
Yeah.
kind of dealing with that stuff. It's like, well, these characters are perfect for that. Like, I'm all for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
it's a great.
Maybe they'll show up in the Supergirl movie. Who knows?
Yeah.
Kira says he's a New Yorker. Pizza grease stains on
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
On Spider-Man,
Oh,
come
hey.
on.
Doc Ock, what are you doing? I
Yeah.
got pizza stains on my pants.
From Shelby Fielding, thank you so much for that $4.99 super chat. Hey guys, is there a movie or TV show that was loved or very popular, but you just never got it? I'm feeling that with Poor Things right now. Interesting.
Sure, there's a ton.
Well, just for the record, I really like Poor Things. I thought it was really
I haven't
good.
seen it yet. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I
It's
don't
on
know if you're
Hulu,
gonna like it. You're not really
Probably
into
not.
those sort of like quirky,
Probably
weird,
not.
like, yeah.
but
Emma Stone's
Um,
great in it. She's really good.
Emma
in it.
Stone?
Emma
Yeah.
Stone,
Oh,
Mark
Emma Stone's
Ruffalo,
awesome.
really
yeah.
good in it. Yeah, yeah,
So good. It was. Yeah, I really loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely not a movie for everyone. I really never understood the hype for What's the one with Tim Curry, Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Oh, sure.
I haven't seen it yet.
Is
That
that?
wasn't my cup of tea either, but
Yeah.
I get the hype. I
Yeah.
get
I
how.
don't at all.
The thing is, it's just like it's a very queer movie,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it came out at a time when there was no other movies like that.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of like queer and gay people saw it, and they were
Yeah.
like, "This is for us," and like stoked, and that's why
Yeah.
it turned into like the midnight,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
because it is like a cheesy,
It is.
like, but it's
Yeah.
a good movie to watch for like a midnight screening
Yeah.
with a bunch of people that are just.
But
I
it's
feel
stoked
like there's a
about it.
lot
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
like classic.
It's like a cult hit.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of movies from like 70s, 80s that like are especially like comedic things
Mm.
that people love. That I'm like, I really don't give a
Right,
fuck about
because
this
you didn't
one.
grow up with it.
Yeah.
or-
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched.
Even like I love Keller. He loves Young Frankenstein. I watched. I was
Oh.
like, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
You
get
know.
it.
Um,
I get it. What are you, more of a Robin Hood Men in Tights guy?
Hell
What's
yeah.
your Mel Brooks?
yeah. I watched
Spaceballs.
Blazing Saddles for the first time recently.
Oh,
and-
nice.
And some of it's like, yeah, this is from a different time.
Yeah.
But some of
Yeah.
the jokes killed. Some of
Yeah.
them are like, yeah, this is really good.
This is funny. And
Yeah.
others are like, it's not that funny.
Yeah.
But I'm just watching this in 2024.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your fault.
Do you have one?
Yeah, what's your thing, Hector?
I'm trying to think. Let me see here. Let me see. Ryan Unicomb says Ghostbusters 2. I hate it. Well, geez. I might like Ghostbusters 2 more than Ghostbusters 1. Because
Really?
Ghostbusters 2 has the cool slime. And I really liked that as a kid.
Yeah.
Your love. Okay,
all right. Yeah,
and it
yeah,
gets
yeah.
into the Statue of Liberty. And it's very like, New York. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And it
Hollywood
has-
loves that stuff.
what's
Like
the
New
na-
York,
I
everybody.
know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what's the name of the actor who plays the museum guy that's the helper of the Vigo
Oh,
painting?
yeah, he was in.
That
Was he in
actor.
Ally
He's
McBeal?
great.
He was in Ally McBeal.
He's
like,
great.
He was in
Name.
like an episode of a few of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, really?
That guy, his character cracks me up in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think he's so funny.
He's a good character.
I
actor.
think he's
like him a
so
lot.
good. And yeah, and I like that. Was Sigourney? She was in the first one.
First one. Well, she was in the second one too.
I like her more in the second one because she has the baby Oscar, and the baby's hinted at maybe being Bill Murray's, but it's not. Right? I
This
like
is the
that.
opposite. This is the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
But it is
let me
interesting.
think.
Like Ghostbusters 2, the one. That's
Maybe.
I'm gonna.
But like I was saying in the car, I don't really have a deep love for any of the franchise. So I'm a
yeah.
little removed from. I don't.
I
I'm
love
not
the
precious.
first one. I love the
Yeah, I'm not-
first one. And Ghostbusters because we were talking about Sony,
Mhm.
and I am
Yeah,
surprised
yeah.
that we haven't tried specifically Men in Black, but I think Ghostbusters 2 turned into a live action show. That's the perfect. Both of them had an animated series. That's a perfect case of the week, monster of the week show.
A show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why isn't there a Ghostbusters or Men in Black show on Netflix? That blows my mind.
Yeah.
How can
it's
how can
tough.
Tanner 0823 hate Mad Max Fury Road?
I
That
know,
blows
it's
my
wild.
mind.
No, that you're wrong. Sorry, you're wrong.
Well,
Peter McNichol.
Thank you. I will say about Fury Road, like I think
Uh-huh.
it's an amazing film. I also can. I think I recognize I do not love it as much as a lot of people.
Yeah.
But there's shit in that movie that I do love. But I
Yeah.
don't love that movie as much as
Fury Road.
Fury
Okay.
Road. I don't love it as much as a lot of people. Which
Yeah.
is cool. Which is fine.
Yeah.
I want to hang on. I want to try to find one that I know people love that I'm like, ooh, I don't like it.
Can we just
I
open your
dislike
letterbox and look and see what you rated 1 or 2 stars?
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
people get mad,
Yeah.
man. People
You-
get
you
mad at
rated-
that shit.
I don't
Oh.
even know people. I don't even think people know I'm.
What
on
was it? There was something.
DJ
there-
talks trash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll
There was
find you on
there was
Letterboxd.
something that you just rated 2 stars, but your review of it was like very positive, and I left a
Oh.
comment. I was like, "So why is this 2 stars?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, was it? Her
What
name
was
is
it?
Conan. Was that it?
No.
Let me see what I
I don't
rated.
even know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Maybe not.
something. It was a movie that I think I really liked. You watched
Oh.
it recently.
And I did a review of it.
Yeah, and you were like, "This was great. This was great. This was great. This was
Oh,
great."
then I gave it 3 stars. You must be talking about the Iron Claw. I
Yeah,
gave it
that's
3
what it
stars.
was.
Yeah, 3 stars. Good,
Yeah.
good. And my review is all positive.
Yeah, and I was like,
just
"So why 3
highlighting the things.
stars?"
No,
Because
yeah, no, I get that. I did
thought
the
it was
same
good.
thing. Yeah.
I thought it was good, but a 4 stars is for a movie I love that I will want to rewatch.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to rewatch.
What's
the
5
Iron
stars
Claw.
for you?
God
tier.
Shit like John Carter.
You
Shit like.
fucking guy.
Yeah.
This
But,
fucking
but
guy.
also like Godfather 1 and 2, and like
Yeah.
I'm not a psychopath.
Yeah,
Like,
I've
I'll
a
you
rule.
gave The
I-
Godfather 5 stars?
yeah, absolutely.
wow.
I think
don't-
it's a
I don't
pretty
give
amazing
I don't
movie.
give anything by my rules. I don't give anything 5 stars.
That's a
Nothing's
dumb rule.
perfect.
That's-
'Cause
That's a
nothing's
dumb rule.
perfect.
That's dumb.
That's serial killer energy.
No,
Yeah.
you should apply that to a 6-star rating, which is impossible
Yeah,
to
yeah,
give.
yeah, yeah.
That's what you should
You should
change to.
change that.
Here's some of my 5 stars. Werewolves Within, I gave that movie 5 stars. Justice
seen it.
League: The New Frontier, the animated movie.
Oh.
I don't think it's truly a 5-star movie, but I give it 5 stars.
I haven't seen
love
it, but
that movie.
that graphic novel is New
It's-
Frontiers. Oh,
it's amazing.
Darwin Cook. Oh my
Blue
god.
Beetle, 5 stars. Blue Beetle,
I
give 5
like Blue
stars.
Beetle.
There
not
you
that
go.
I mean, I
much.
liked it too.
Not
There
that
you go.
much, but yeah.
What else? Let me see something that's like a 2-star movie that people would be like, "What? How could you?" But I don't know. I'm trying to find the thing that like I don't get that people really enjoyed. I just rewatched.
Not a Goonies fan.
I
What
had-
the fuck?
I hadn't. I don't know. I haven't seen it in
Damn.
like 30 years. But the movie The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston.
Oh well.
2 stars.
funny.
Yeah, I was like, but I don't
See,
think anybody's gonna
yeah,
be
I
mad
think-
at that.
I think-
Yeah,
I
you
don't
gotta be. Yeah, you gotta make people mad. We're
Yeah,
here to make
like,
people mad.
Okay, then I'll make people mad.
Yeah.
Maybe Top Gun.
The first one?
yeah, I don't like the first Top Gun.
I think we've talked about this
Yeah.
first and second. I think the second one is much better than the first.
Yes.
And I think they're both like really well made, but I'm like, I don't think they vibe with me.
Same.
Those the messaging, those kinds of movies. You know what I
it's
mean?
too for me.
I'm
too
more than-
obviously propaganda.
I'm more
that
the
makes
Mission
it-
Impossible, which is another Tom Cruise vehicle that's all impossible shit.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I like that
Yes.
more than the Top Guns.
Yeah, I would argue there's not a bad Mission Impossible movie.
Mission Impossible 2 is pretty bad.
I'm
But-
a John Woo fan.
That's
I'm a John, so even though I understand
cool.
that, I understand. For me,
That's
the
cool.
weakest is 3 because I'm not a big JJ.
What?
I don't like the way JJ
Bro.
Abrams directs movies.
Philip
Here we
Seymour
go.
Hoff.
Here we go.
Totally.
Philip
Best
Seymour
villain.
Hoff.
Best
Thank you.
villain in the
Okay,
entire franchise.
okay, then you're
That's
good.
then that's what I'm saying.
Then you're
is
good.
That, is
Then
that
you're
even my
good.
least favorite one
Has the best villain in the
villain.
fan. You know,
Yeah.
you're good. Then you're good. Then you're good. Total Recall 2 stars.
To
Yeah,
the
it was
point-
Ryan Unicom. I get the original Total Recall 2 stars. Arnold.
Wait. You
stars.
gave the original Total
Yeah,
Recall.
two
You just
stars.
said
Nothing.
you liked it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah. No.
I'm amongst serial killers.
I like things about
oh
it.
no!
I
wait,
like things about
wait,
it.
never mind. It was the remake.
That's true, but I think I gave the original 2 stars as well. But the
No.
original is way better than the remake.
No.
Yeah.
I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Who am
Yeah.
I? Who are these people?
I don't
Who
like
are these people?
Now,
Get me outta here.
remind me what else Verhoeven directed. He did the first RoboCop.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
He did Showgirls, which is an
I haven't seen that yet.
infamously
I should watch it.
infamous movie.
Starship
Starship Troopers.
Troopers.
Yeah, Starship
which is
Troopers.
I
great.
think that's my favorite of his.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's one I really vibe with everything and its corniness and the satire. And
Yeah.
and Total Recall and RoboCop are also very satirical.
Yeah.
Very much so. But I think Starship Troopers is like maybe the most fun for me to watch.
It is
Right?
fun. Yeah, it's a very fun movie.
It's very fun.
I always like to use Starship Troopers as a point
kill
of
you.
reference.
I'll kill you.
It's my point of reference for whenever people ask me about Zack Snyder's Watchmen. I'm like, he did a reverse Starship Troopers. He took an anti-fascist work and made it into a fascist work.
Oh god.
Now people are looking at my letterbox like Hector gave John Wick 2 stars. Oh Jesus Christ!
You gave John Wick 2 stars?
Yeah,
They
I'm
were
a
all
little-
different. Aisha just put Mary Poppins. No thanks. I think the first Mary Poppins movie is like a masterpiece.
It's
I
brilliant.
think it's
yeah.
amazing.
It's brilliant.
I
Mary-
think
the
it's
first Mary
amazing.
Poppins
Yeah.
is. I mean, we can argue
And
about
the new one I
new
think
one.
is
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
fine.
partially because the first one is,
So
it was
good.
one of those like my family wanted to watch Mary Poppins, and I was like and then as an adult watching, I'm like, oh wait, actually this movie's excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
this
really
movie's
good.
actually
Yeah,
really,
It's really,
good.
really good. It's really good. See, Wesley's gave Usual Suspects 2.5 stars. We've all here's what I need to clarify
Wesley, you're
about.
being demoted.
Here's what I need to clarify about my 2 stars.
Yeah,
It is not me saying I think this movie is 2 out of 5 objectively.
yeah.
My star ratings are for me to keep track of my own. So when I know that I gave Total Recall 2 stars, that means like, oh, you maybe didn't vibe with this,
Okay.
but like there's something there, but it's just not my thing. If I give a movie
Interesting.
3 stars, like The Iron Claw, vibed with it. I thought there was some excellent stuff in there. I think it's I mean, I could say that Total Recall is a good movie, but there was enough in it. The original Arnold, I mean,
Yeah.
the new one we don't talk about, but the
Yeah.
original, there was enough in there for me to be like, I'm not sure if I'm connecting with this, vibing with it, even with the satirical level, even with Verhoeven doing that shit on purpose. I was like, this is very cheesy. I don't know if I want to watch this again. I don't know if I want to commit and be a fan of this, hyper fixate on this. That's how I use my movies. So John Carter, for all of its flaws, I was like, I'll hyperfixate on this. I'll read all the books. I'll be a fan. I'll be a fan.
I understand this to the degree that,
Yeah.
like, when we did our
my own record keeping.
top 10 episodes at the end, top 10 movies at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like, I put TMNT Mutant Mayhem
Yeah.
above like Killers of the Flower Moon,
Which
not because I think
not-
it's a better movie than Killers of the Flower Moon.
Exactly, but that just spoke to your heart.
It just it
You
just
go,
spoke,
"Oh,
to,
that's
it spoke
my-
to me more,
that's
and
my
like
fave."
to your rewatchability. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to put on a 3.5 hour movie
I know.
ever again,
I
ever
know,
again.
But I know. I think
Yeah.
there are people who watch movies and also like professional film critics who will treat these movies in this way where I'm like, the way I use movies is I rewatch them. Is
Yeah.
I buy the Blu-ray. We watched Kung Fu Panda. I'm like, I want to watch all the special features. I want to get the art book. I want to, that's and then rewatch over and over and over again. That's how I like to interface with my faves.
Yeah,
But is Killers of the Flower Moon excellent? Yeah. Is The Godfather one of the best movies I've ever seen? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is.
yeah.
Kind of objectively, but you know, do I want to rewatch it as much as I rewatch other things about superheroes? No,
Yeah.
because it's there's sadness in it. There's
Yeah.
there's real shit in it.
Yeah.
But I will. Godfather, I think, is the one where I'm like, it's just so good. I think I would own that, of course,
Yeah.
on Blu-ray and like have it and listen to commentary of Francis Ford Coppola and and enjoy that. But
Do you have my Godfather set, by the way?
no,
Okay.
I don't think so. I've got your Star Wars set,
Oh, okay.
your 9 box set. I got
Nine.
that. I got that.
Nine.
And a couple of Toy
Yeah,
Stories.
I guess I interface with my movies differently because
Yeah.
even if I don't watch it like 100 times a year,
Yeah.
like Iron Claw for me, I was like, it made me emotional. I
Yeah.
connected with the story. I connected with the
Yep.
characters. The
Yep.
performances were amazing. It was a really exceptional story and all these sorts of things. And I was
No,
like,
you
yeah,
got,
it's
you
like a
got
4
so
or 5.
mad at me because I was like, this did make me cry at the end. 3 stars. You were like,
I was like, what the fuck?
I said that also.
Yeah,
I
if you make me cry, you're probably going to be somewhere. You're going to be pretty highly rated. Yeah.
I rewatched Aquaman, the first one,
Yeah.
last year before the new one, 2 months ago, and I posted a picture of me rewatching it at my house in 3D, and I was like, "This movie's so dumb and great."
Yeah.
And then the next thing I posted was my 3-star review,
Mm-hmm.
and Cameron Rice was like, "It's so great! Why'd you put through 3 stars?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Well,
Well, because it's still you can enjoy
Yeah,
something without saying
yeah.
like it's the.
it's excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, this is dumb. This
I enjoy
movie's
it for
dumb."
what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah. See,
yeah,
for me,
yeah.
most of like I last year I went on Letterboxd for every movie I saw. I've got my
Yeah.
list of 2023,
Yeah.
and the bulk of it was 3 stars. It's fine.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was fine.
Yeah.
3.5 stars, pretty good.
Uh-huh,
Guardians Volume 3, which I think is my favorite Guardians. 3.5.
Oh, 3.5.
Dude,
Only
3.5?
3.5?
Yeah.
Wow.
But most superhero movies land in like the 3.5 range.
Dang.
You know what I mean?
What's your highest rated superhero movie? What's a
I mean,
4-star superhero
probably
movie? The
like
Dark
4.5.
Knight?
4.5 is my
4.5?
highest. 4.5 is my
The
highest
Batman.
rated.
The Batman.
No, Batman might be the Batman might be 4. It might be 4. And
Yeah.
I like the Batman a lot. It is
Oh,
long. The
Spider-Man
third
Into the
act.
Spider-Verse.
Into
4.5.
the Spider-Verse is definitely 4.5. Across the Spider-Verse is like
4? 3.5?
Yeah, because I think it's just not as good as Into.
Okay, yeah,
it's
fine.
still good. Still
All
good.
right. Wow.
Dark Knight, obviously, because I think that's still the high watermark of superhero movies.
Wow.
But then you get more personal stuff. Like for me, the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie
Yeah,
is a seminal, important.
that's your 5-star movie.
That it's 4.5. You know, it's probably 4 because I acknowledge, like, there's parts
Give
of
it 5,
but
man.
but it means a lot to me. You know what I mean? And in my Spider-Man ranking, it's still my favorite Spider-Man movie because nothing can ever replace. I was 15 when I saw it, or whatever
know,
age.
I
That's
know,
the
I
know.
perfect age.
2002.
If let me ask you a question. If you had to give one movie
Yeah.
of all time, one 5-star rating on Letterboxd, what movie would you pick? There's no perfect movie, but if you had to give one.
So it's like am I trying to like pick my favorite movie or the one that I think like deserves it the most?
Why not both?
Well, I think you're making a good argument that maybe I should give out more 5-star
Yeah.
reviews, but probably something like Michael Mann's Thief.
Damn.
Oh,
Good pick.
yeah.
Good pick. Good pick.
Because I watched the cafe scene in that movie. I just watch.
Yeah,
I'll just sit around and like I want to watch
Or
that
Michael
cafe
Mann's
scene.
Heat.
And
5
which I think is
stars.
great. I think
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah,
I prefer Thief.
Great. That's great.
And that movie
That's awesome.
means
Or
means
like
a lot to me.
Seattle KO says, Meteor Man, 5 stars.
Hell yeah.
Perfect. What do you guys think? It's hard for me to.
Blade, 5 stars.
feel
The
like
Incredibles, 5 stars. Yeah.
I think Incredibles is great.
Lego Batman, 5 stars. I would agree with that too.
I feel like I make people mad
Princess
a lot
Bride, 5
with
stars.
my
Yes.
takes. Is
That's
there like
fine.
a one?
Your name is DJ Talks
Talks
Trash.
Trash,
I've already
yeah.
had this conversation with you,
Yeah.
and you're like, "This is my brand, baby."
But I'm trying. If I pick one that's like the thing I don't get, like people are like way into. I'm like, I don't know. I will say this.
Yeah.
I am not. Star Wars doesn't move me the way
That's
it
fine.
moves other people.
That's
Sure.
fine.
You know what I mean?
But you liked
conceptually,
Andor.
I loved Andor.
See, then it does. Then that's a tricky one too, because it's
Yeah.
like you have to have like a blanket. Like I don't
Yeah.
get this whole franchise.
Right.
And there are some people that are like Lord of the Rings, not for me, which is kind of like okay, weird for me.
That feels. But
Yeah.
that feels
Yeah.
like a weird thing to say because like I'm not like. I had
Okay.
this conversation with other people who were like, I don't like musicals. What does that mean? There's
Right.
not
Yeah.
a single musical you don't
Right,
you like?
that's kind of
Yeah.
wild. That's like
Yeah.
saying I don't like comedies or I don't like
Yeah.
dramas.
Right,
I'm
right,
like
right, right.
that. You got to watch more stuff.
Yeah.
So even Star Wars has so many varied genre, like flavors that
Yeah.
it's like it's weird to be like. The same when people are like, I don't really like Marvel movies. I'm like, what
It's
does that
not a-
mean? What does that mean?
Like,
Have you not seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? That
Yeah,
counts. Like
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What do you
Probably
mean?
not. They probably haven't.
Yeah.
If they're saying they don't like Marvel, they haven't seen Into the Spider
Yeah,
Verse.
that's a
Yeah.
good one. That's a
Well,
good
it's like funny, like Lord of the Rings. For me, Lord of the Rings, I think because it misses the science fiction element that it doesn't like completely suck me in,
Sure,
even
sure,
though it's like a
sure, sure,
fantasy.
sure.
That's
Sure.
interesting.
I
that
think-
people,
I think
people
that
have
science
that
fiction
respond
element-
more to fantasy than science fiction, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
Hey,
Because
Jonah Hill
Dune-
had the same thing, man. Jonah, and then he saw Game of Thrones, and then he was like, "This fantasy's tight."
yeah.
Jonah, you
then
idiot.
Because with Dune, I was thinking the
Stupid
same
idiot.
thing. I was like, oh, is Dune going to be something like more like a Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, there's spaceships and shit and space.
That's
I'm
one
into
you
it.
don't love.
Yeah,
but
no.
you
Here's the
appreciated
one
the
that
first
people
film. Yeah.
that people really respond to that I kind of don't get. I
Yeah.
don't really like the bear.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. The
Oh,
TV show.
really?
I
Okay,
don't really
interesting.
like the bear.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
interesting.
think it's one of those things where I see the craft,
Yeah.
and so I think to myself, okay, so why am I not
Yep,
responding
yep,
to
yep,
it? What's
yep,
going
yep.
on there? Especially somebody that wants to create stuff. I try to figure out, okay, so what am I responding to? What am I not responding
Right.
to? And I think with the bear, part of it is I do like I love Uncut Gems, so I do like stuff with anxiety. I think for
Yeah.
me, it's anxiety over a silly thing. Like, guys, you're working a restaurant.
Right.
Calm down.
It's
Like,
not missiles. It's
yeah,
sandwiches.
exactly. and then it feels and it's like one of those classic shows where if people just talk to each other,
I know.
then maybe we could
I know.
circumvent a lot of the things that are going on here. But it feels like
You have
it's
a really healthy
situations-
relationship with your wife, don't you?
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
I feel
good.
like that. Yeah, I feel
Maybe
like that,
Adam's saying not everybody has that. So
Right.
they watch The Bear and they're like, "Me too, man."
I mean,
Yeah.
I watch episodes of the Bear, and I'm
yeah.
like, well, that reminds me of my fucking family sometimes.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, yeah, and maybe I don't have a lot of that family drama and stuff like that. And again, I'm
Yeah.
not necessarily. It's not that I'm.
But it's like there's
against
no, you
anxiety
can't find the
porn.
in for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also it feels like I'm rooting for a group of people to gentrify a restaurant, and I'm like, no, that's the hard part. I think that's the hard part is Evan Moss,
Yeah.
who we talked
Yeah.
about, who's playing Ben Grimm the Thing. He's clearly, at least in the first season, I didn't really watch the second season. He's clearly presented as kind of like the antagonist.
Yeah.
But I agree with him. Like
Yeah.
his
Interesting.
perspective,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
don't change the restaurant. I'm like, yeah, he's right.
Right,
Don't
right,
change
right.
the restaurant.
Yeah.
But the show, I feel like the show doesn't want me to agree with him, and it's like, no, he's right though. He
That's
does things
funny.
I don't agree with, but his
funny.
perspective on this I agree with.
Yeah, and I think if you ever get around to watching the second season, I think you may, because I'm curious to see the way that things go in season 2 is that kind of goes in that direction, and now season 3, I'm like, well, what's gonna happen now that they have
Yeah.
done that? Is it gonna bite him in the ass?
Yeah,
and then
but
he'll be right at the end
The
of
cast is great. Jeremy
Yeah.
Allen White's great.
Yeah.
Ayo Edebiri,
Edebiri, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just something about it, like you're talking about. It just doesn't like I don't want to exist here. I don't want to be a part
Yeah.
of this.
That was my. It's kind of different. Maybe it's the same. It was
I
years
live for
ago.
that drama.
Years
Yeah.
ago when I watched the TV show Entourage
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and also the TV show Mad Men. I watched the whole first seasons of each of those shows, and at the end, I was like, "Oh, this feels like there's a lot of asshole characters. I
Yeah.
don't really like spending time with these assholes." But then the flip side is, I did really enjoy. I haven't seen all the show, but when I saw the first season of Breaking Bad, that's an asshole
Yeah.
character, and I was like, "This is sucking me in."
Yeah, yeah.
Or
right.
the same with the Kevin Spacey show House of Cards. Boo,
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
But that show opens with him killing a dog.
Yeah.
And then it's still able to lure you in. And I was like, this is really interesting. So it depends on
Yeah.
what, but I get the feeling of like, I don't want to spend time with these assholes.
Yeah.
This feels like, why am I don't know.
It's something.
You know.
What was I watching? Oh, it was something like. Did you guys watch The Curse?
No, I haven't seen it.
No.
Okay. I think it's great. People have mixed
Oh.
feelings on the finale. Things
Isn't
are
Emma
hard-
Stone in that?
Yeah, and she's great. in
Yeah,
it.
she's great.
But
Oh,
but it
is
is
that on Showtime?
it's Showtime. You can watch it on Paramount Plus. That's how I
Oh,
watched
okay.
it.
Cool.
But it is one of those the awkward, the cringe, the awkwardness is
Yeah.
so like this is
Ugh.
real. There was times where I never do this. I had to be on my phone just because I needed some sort of buffer from what was
Jesus.
happening. And
Jesus.
I would argue that it was a couple episodes with where it ends up. I think it's a couple episodes too long. But the finale was like, this is genius for me. Mixed feelings on the finale for me is like, this is genius.
Boo, Kevin Spacey, stinky. Kevin Spacey, stinky. Let's knock out the rest of these
All right.
questions.
Another one from Shelby Fielding. On the topic of DC, I was wondering how much the principles of the characters matter to your subjective viewing. For example, Pattinson's and Clooney's Batman are the only ones who don't kill. Yeah, I
That
guess
does-
George Clooney's Batman does not kill.
Yeah, that does matter.
Yeah, Val
That-
Kilmer's technically does kill Two-Face.
Oh, right.
I think that's
He throws all those coins, and then he, as a
I don't know. I think
end
that
result, he falls off. Yeah.
I'd like to think that stuff matters only when I'm already not vibing with the story or the
Right.
direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if I start, like you just described, questioning, well, why am I not vibing with Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice?
Yeah.
Then I go to, well, what baggage am I bringing to this?
Right.
Here's my baggage. Batman has a no-kill rule. So does
Right,
Superman.
right.
And this director and writers, they disagree, and so I'm like, I guess I disagree, and that's
Yeah.
part of it.
What is this
You know?
Superman logo thing that Wes just sent to me.
Oh, is that real? That's fake.
I don't know. That looks
What's
kinda
tomorrow.
the
fake.
account? What's the account?
Yeah, what's the account?
What? No,
Wes,
read it.
Wes, I need no
Physical
physical
media
media
president?
underscore.
Guys, he's
With-
got a blue check mark.
Yeah,
okay,
dude,
so
that's some bullshit. Wes, you fell for a blue
Come
check
on,
mark.
Wes.
Yeah.
Is
They're
it from the DC account? Is it from
$8 a
James
month.
Gunn?
They're
Who's this
paying
from?
$8 a month.
Come on,
to have a blue
Wes.
check
Come
mark
on,
on
Wes.
Twitter.
You're killing me here.
Yep. Nope.
So wait, what was the question we were answering for the no kill rule?
Do the values of characters matter when you're watching a movie
Yes.
adaptation of them?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the things, I have mixed feelings on like Homecoming and stuff like that, but one of my favorite moments is when Donald Glover's character is in that gun deal. Spider-Man comes down like, hey, actually focus on me now. It's like, yeah, that's Spider-Man.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
him. Do you know what I mean?
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
From Freddie Alexis Perez. Hola. Speaking of Superman, Smallville was one of the best told Clark Kent stories. Did you guys watch that show? If so,
Yeah.
what was your favorite thing about it? Also, do you have plans to attend cons? We just talked about the attending con thing in the last episode. If you want us to attend a con, call your representatives and tell them to call us.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we'll go.
Find out if there's a contact email or person
Yeah.
or like feedback for like a local con that you know
Mhm.
that you can find in your area, and then let them know, hey, these guys on this YouTube channel, they said they'd
I
be
like
down.
them.
You should fly them out.
Yeah.
And you should they can host panels and stuff for you
Mhm.
and do us a little pitch.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
maybe we should have a website that also pitches ourselves. I don't know.
Yeah.
We should have like
Don't have
an
more things to my
agent.
plate, Hector.
Yeah. Well, one of the
How
things,
many more
one of the
burners do we
things-
got?
Listen, one of the things I might want to take off the plate, maybe, potentially, maybe, based on the conversation I was having with DJ earlier,
Mhm.
maybe we don't rush to watch this live action Avatar The Last Airbender show. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I've been hearing not great things. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet, but I'm like, maybe we don't do that.
Yeah. Sideline.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of things on the back
Yeah.
burner. Maybe we put that on the ground for a little bit and focus on some other
Yeah,
stuff.
we
What do you
could.
think? What do you think?
I'm fine with it.
I think I'd rather watch Batman the Animated Series than
Hey,
Yeah,
now we're
yeah,
cooking.
yeah.
that. Now we're
yeah,
cooking
yeah.
with grease. All right.
There you go.
Next question.
Wait,
Wait, no, the
Smallville.
first. Yeah, I watched Smallville. Favorite part about it?
Yeah.
Why am I thinking about that episode where Clark was horny and that's how we got heat vision?
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Season 2, episode 2 or
Yeah.
something.
Doesn't hold up. Doesn't
Flip
hold
Fire,
up.
whatever it was called.
But that teacher in that scene was pretty
Oh,
hot.
yeah.
Pretty hot
Oh,
lady.
yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
oh,
early
oh.
CW. Yeah, WB.
yeah.
Yeah,
WB.
so
Good.
Whew, they had some attractive people on that show.
Yeah. That show was sexy.
I liked probably Rosenbaum as Lex.
Mm.
Lionel, the Lex stuff I thought was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him
same.
and John Glover,
Yeah.
they were great.
Yeah.
Rosenbaum is still like the definitive Lex in my
Yeah.
brain
Great.
because he had all the elements.
Right, yeah. I really enjoyed the show for the first like 5 seasons.
Mhm.
And then I felt like once Jonathan Kent left the show,
Because he died.
Died?
Yeah.
for me the story is like ready to progress to the next stage of
And they
Clark
kept
Kent's
going
life.
it till 10 seasons.
And it kept going.
I
And
know,
then by
I
season
know.
7 it became a Superman show without Superman and I
Yep.
was like,
Yeah.
No
we
flights,
can,
no
we can end
tights.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to season 10 episode.
He's living
I
in
think-
Metropolis.
Yeah.
He's working with Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Right.
He's wearing a suit. He's Clark Kent
Yeah.
at the Daily Planet.
Yeah.
You're like,
he's the red blue blur and I'm like, okay.
he's
just-
meeting Martian Manhunter and Booster Gold
Yeah,
and
like,
come on,
Cyborg
come on,
and
guys.
Aquaman, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, they
Yeah.
did a Justice League episode.
Yeah, and I'm like, we could have
Bleh.
already gone through this,
I
but
know,
whatever.
I
But
know.
it was overall, it was a really, really great story and a
Seattle
cool show.
KO immediately. That was the Doritos girl, Krista Allen. Yeah, man, she was fine.
Yeah.
Very
She was fine
beautiful,
as hell.
very beautiful person. But that's hilarious that Seattle was like, I got that locked and loaded. That was Krista Allen, actor Krista Allen.
Adrian Moreno, thank you so much for that $10 super chat. Question for Adam: any possibility of another editing stream? You guys have inspired my friends and I to start our own reaction channel. Any editing or copyright tips will be greatly appreciated. You don't want me to do an editing stream right now because we're having issues with Adobe Premiere,
no.
and I'm going back and forth on emails with their engineers to try
Oh,
to figure out
no.
what the problem is. They can't even solve the issue, so we
What?
can't even render full edited videos without losing audio like 15 minutes in. So now I'm at the point where I have to edit 15-minute sections of
God.
every video and then take all of those renders and then put them together on one timeline and then render the whole thing out.
Hey, this is a stupid question. Can Adobe send you a new version of the program?
No.
Will that do anything?
You
They
know,
can't,
it's-
like, they don't want to, or they can't, or like that won't fix the
Well, no,
issue.
it won't. They would have to push a very specific patch for whatever that problem is.
No, but I'm saying whatever that problem is
Well,
there
they haven't even solved the problem.
right?
That's the
So
thing.
so that problem is inherent in everybody's Adobe ever and all everywhere around the world,
I
or
have no
just
idea.
you?
I guess at that
No
point you
idea.
would just reinstall it. That would be insane.
that even hasn't changed.
Yeah.
fixed
That's
the
why I'm
problem.
like, okay, do you need like
It
a
has,
new-
it has something to do with how we nest our comps and then all the edits
The
that we
kids are
have.
riveted right now.
Something is like bugging out.
So it
but
doesn't.
they can't
it doesn't,
figure out what it is.
The solution isn't like you just need a new download code or something to wipe your computer of Adobe and then just get a new version of Adobe.
I love that
I
you guys are
wish.
talking about this on the air.
I
I love. This is how
Well,
the
because
sausage
here's
gets
the thing,
made.
Adam and I
kids.
never talk usually.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: we have so many people who are in our Discord and on YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Where's Ahsoka? Where's Echo? Where's this? And I literally want to make a video that says, if you understood the fucking headaches I have
Yeah.
every day of my life dealing with this.
Frustrated that we've gone to this whole like subscription plan thing with
hate
everything
it.
because you'll go on like I've been
I
in
fucking
Photoshop
hate
and
it.
suddenly like something's moved and it's like why
They update their software every 4 to 6 weeks.
yeah
And I fucking hate it.
So something they did messed us up.
Something.
Yeah.
Because they used to update their software every 18 to 24 months. And it was just like a massive update that had
Right.
all these new and better tools. Now they're just like,
they just tinker with stuff.
here's something to try that.
Yeah.
Try that.
So-
Try that.
so-
but then it breaks other tools and you're like,
Don't worry, we've added these new AI tools. Get out of here.
Oh my
man.
God, the
Get
AI
out of
stuff
here.
So
drives me nuts.
did you get feedback from Adobe with like, oh, other people are also experiencing this, or it's just you
I have no
solo?
clue if other people are.
Dude, this is so
I don't give a fuck
frustrating.
about other people. I just care if I have the
This is so
problem. Fix
frustrating.
my problem.
Yeah.
I know, man.
Yeah.
And
so-
now,
That
like
sucks.
Google's basically broken, so you're like, how to fix this problem? And it's like,
Well, yeah,
here's-
and I've
I don't
seen
need any this
forums of
stuff.
people who've had a similar issue.
Yeah.
And like
No
it's never
solution.
been addressed by Adobe.
Yeah.
And so finally I kind of just like bashed Adobe on Twitter.
Yep.
And
That's
they
the best
slid
you
into
can
my
do.
DMs. And then finally I got connected to an engineer. I had a one-on-one call with him and I explained the situation and he was like, okay, can you, because he told me that no one has been willing to send them a project file where the
Oh.
issue has occurred.
And you're like,
And
here.
I'm like, take ours.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. It was our reaction to Morbius. Fucking keep the movie. I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. That,
and the
that
update currently is they can't figure it out.
they're still working on it. Yeah. He was like, try this workaround. It didn't
Seattle,
work.
the DaVinci Resolve is still free, right? The thing is this program, we have to use it because it's what we're using with our editors
Yeah.
overseas.
Yeah. They don't have
Have to-
access. They don't, yeah, I don't know what their situation is with DaVinci Resolve, but our entire pipeline is built in Adobe Premiere. So
Yeah.
it's just more work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, next question.
Okay, sorry, bud.
Ryan Unicomb. Hey, you want to read this one?
He's our Australian
Yeah.
friend. Sorry I'm late. Cavill Superman, stinky. Good day. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, bud.
Movies Clockford. As much as I love Black Panther's black and purple suit and Black Panther. Oh, wait, sorry. Let me read that again. As much as I love Black Panther's black and purple suit in Black Panther, I love Black Panther's black and silver suit in Civil War, especially the detail and patterns on his suit. Because we were talking about like all the use of the different suits and the
Oh,
CG
yeah,
suits
yeah,
and all that
It's
stuff.
also a practical suit.
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
great. So.
it is. But also like that like purple and black suit, it's absorbing all the energy.
Yeah, I don't think it's
And then
ever
he
purple
disperses
all
that
the
energy
time.
back.
It's just when he gets hit,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah, because they did an action figure of that version where it was T'Challa, but he had like the purple stuff, and I was like, but I think that's only
not
when he's
technically-
getting hit.
Right, yeah.
Because I have
He's absorbing like
right.
all that.
I have
What
an
are they
action
called? Kinetic
figure.
energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the action figure of Black Panther and his suit in the movie Black Panther, which I think is also the same one he did in Infinity War and technically Endgame.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's his final suit, and then
Right,
T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman passed away. But I'm like, I don't want the purple one
Yeah.
because that's supposed to be. Am I crazy? Right?
no,
that's,
no,
it's battle damage.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
not his normal. He
Right,
still has
right.
like a black and silver look.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is a different like head and mask design, and even though it's now like nano, it still has a different design than the Civil War suit, which is also
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
prefer the Civil War suit.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Jada, thank you so much for that 999 super chat. Happy Wednesday, homies. What movies or TV shows scared the shit out of you as a kid? For me, it was The Page Master. The paintings melting into a giant tidal wave that drowned the kid freaked me out. I love The Page Master.
I don't think I've seen Page Master.
With Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay.
Oh, I
like
don't
live
remember. I
action
didn't see it, but
animation.
yeah,
that was
yeah.
a fun one. I haven't seen that in ages. I wonder
I
what
know.
how that works out.
They
now.
should remake it,
Mhm.
No.
but live action. But
What?
Reverse it. The
Reverse
live
it?
action
No,
parts
no,
are
no.
now
Flip it and reverse
animated.
it?
and
No,
the
no,
animated
no.
parts are live action.
no, live action. And then instead of him going into like an animated world, he does go into the library, and then there's like a CG book that's like voiced
Oh, I
by
see
an
what you're
actor,
saying. Yeah.
and then he'll go into
So it's
sort
like
of
Beauty and the Beast.
And then
he'll
go into the
into sort of
multiverse.
CG or animated, basically
Yeah.
the book multiverse.
Book multiverse. He's hanging out with Gandalf.
That's how
and-
you get kids into reading
There
again.
you go.
Yeah, that's it. That's the key.
Yeah.
And then they go into like 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
No,
Oh God!
they're in the
Ew.
wrong section.
Whoops.
That would be
do you guys,
cool.
Do you guys have any movies or shows that scared the shit out of you?
Nightmare Before Christmas. I was real little, and those three little trick or treaters when they took their mask off and it was
Yeah.
still their face. For some reason, that traumatized me, and
Yeah.
I had nightmares with those characters in walking in like a tub. I was like, ugh.
Shockingly dark movie. I remember the
Yeah.
trailer, like the trailer for that played on TV with the kid
Yeah.
unwraps the
Yeah,
shark head. My
and it
parents were
was
like,
like-
nope, you're not going to watch that.
I know.
Mhm.
That's
Oh my
kind of
God.
messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Santa get you? And it's a shrunken head.
Yeah.
Mine was definitely Halloween.
Halloween?
Oh, yeah,
How,
you're not
how
supposed
young
to-
were you?
I was
5
8 or 9.
Oh,
Okay.
too
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, yeah.
And I used to sleep with the closet door open, like that closet door.
Yeah.
So, you lay down at night and your bed's facing the closet and you'd open your eyes and you'd start to like materialize and you think you see a face
You
in
hear
the closet.
dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
and I'm
dun,
like,
dun.
oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
No. Turn the light on, close the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, when I was, my family was a more conservative family, so no
Mhm.
horror movies, none of that stuff. But I have fond memories of, I think it was like PBS would play Tom Baker, Doctor Who,
Oh,
late at
interesting.
night, and I would watch
Mm.
that with my dad. And so one night I couldn't sleep, and I was like, "Wait, Doctor Who's on?" Because I didn't know
Mm.
like programming schedules.
Yeah.
Right.
So I turned on the TV, and for the longest time, I didn't know what movie it was. I have since learned it's Phantasm 2.
Oh.
cool.
So for those that haven't seen the Phantasm movies, there's these metal orbs
Yep.
that stab you or drill into you or whatever. And it was the gold orb in Phantasm 2 that goes up through the guy and comes out his mouth. And I was just like, what is this?
Oh
And I
my
turned off
God.
the TV and I went to bed. And I was like, oh my God, what did I watch? And it
How
was
old were you?
young, like maybe 7 or 8 or
Ay,
something.
Jeez,
ay,
man.
ay.
And so I didn't, for the longest time, I didn't know what it was. And then college, my roommate was a huge horror fan. And he's like, have you ever seen Don Coscarelli's Phantasm? So we watched the first time. I'm like, wait, this is
I
it.
This
know
messed
this
me up.
movie.
Yeah,
But
and
not this, but
not
it
this
was there
one.
a
And
part
so it's
two?
like, yeah. So and then we watched 2, and I'm
Whoa.
like, this is what it was. And now they're great. I
Wow.
love the Phantasm
Yeah,
movies. but-
wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Poor kid didn't know about programming.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
know.
so sad.
Wait,
Yeah.
and I didn't know like
Yeah.
scary movies. I just wanted to see
wonder
Doctor Who.
I wonder if because of streaming, kids don't have that issue anymore. You can't turn on a
Yeah,
TV and accidentally.
no.
You have to go to a thing and hit play with
Yeah.
streaming.
Right.
So if they're parents that don't have cable,
Yeah.
that just have all the streaming services, like
Yeah.
And they're
kids
good
can
with their
avoid-
little protections or whatever.
I
yeah.
remember like being at my cousin and uncle and aunt's house, and they were just flipping channels, and I think they came across maybe a Nightmare on Elm Street movie
Mm.
where like a messed up Freddy head was in the covers, and
Yeah.
then like,
Yep.
"Whoa," and I remember being like 5 or 6,
Yeah.
and the my uncle was like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
like didn't know that it was
Yeah.
a horror movie, and I was like, wait, there's something under the covers,
Yeah.
and my
Hi.
uncle was just like, oh shit, you know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
can, like that can never happen
Uh,
anymore.
yeah.
You got to hit play on.
When I
Horror
was
movies.
house sitting for you,
Yeah.
was this a year and a half ago?
Something like that.
Something like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
I watched all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Your house
Yeah,
is
yeah,
haunted, bro. By the way,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
Ab's about to tell you. Your
Yeah,
house is
yeah.
haunted.
knew it.
That's what it
Yeah,
is. That's
knew
I
what it
it.
is.
binge watched so many horror movies because it was in like October, November, wasn't it?
Something like
yeah,
that.
and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm in the mood.
Yeah.
I watched all that fucking horror
In
stuff. It
the
was
zone.
great. I loved
Ninja
it.
Theory says Cronenberg's Fly messed me up.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guy's arm breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It will.
Superman 3, lady gets sucked into the computer and turns into a robot.
Yeah.
That's I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
terrifying.
This is a funny comment from Shelby Fielding. My parents were conservative towards marginalized people and queer people, but not scary movies for whatever reason. yeah, that's
yeah,
I had,
yeah.
I had friends
Makes
like
sense.
that.
Yeah.
The big thing when I was a kid, it's like, no, don't worry, it's only rated R for violence. I was like,
Yeah.
what is that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why? Even as a kid, I was like, wait, so nudity is worse than
Yeah.
violent
Yeah,
than a
no
guy
way,
getting
no
shot
way.
to death?
No way.
yeah.
The boobies in Halloween did not traumatize Adam.
No,
That's
no,
not
not
what
at
trauma. He was
all.
like, "This is great.
Yeah.
It's natural."
I love
Yeah,
it.
I
It's
remember we were just
natural.
talking about Batman Forever. I remember seeing Nicole Kidman in Batman Forever's kid. I was
Yeah.
like, wait a second, this means something to me. Wait a second.
What
You
is
know it was-
happening
You know
here?
what it was for me? Halle Berry in the Flintstones.
I get it.
She
Oh.
played Sharon Stone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it was all like da-dum, da-dum,
Yes.
sexy
Yeah.
music. And I was 5 years old, and I was like, I think I like girls.
Yeah, I think I'm
This
into
is what's telling
Yeah.
me this.
Oh my god.
And then Kimberly, the Pink Power Ranger.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies.
Because she had the sexy scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
that
got in
came
trouble
out.
as
That came
I got in so much trouble for watching that.
Yeah.
You're
I
like,
was-
it's Arnold, it's action.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's exactly. My mom's like,
No,
turn that
no.
off, and I was like,
That
come
was
way
on.
too
That
sexy.
movie has not aged great.
No,
but,
all the bad guys
Really?
are just Middle Eastern
Oh, yeah.
terrorists.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna watch it when it comes on
Yeah.
4K Bluray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
do it
for sure.
And
For
enjoy
sure.
it. Enjoy it.
We're
yeah.
adults.
It's
We can
probably
handle
gonna be
it.
DNR'd.
We can
We can
process it.
handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, watch that 4K Jamie Lee Curtis scene. I know what you're doing. Cochino, I know what you're doing. No,
Last
she's great.
question from
She's
Jules,
great.
aka Juicebox. As a fan of a lot of DreamWorks animation work, what are y'all's top 3 movies from them?
DJ, you can answer that for me.
Oh, I can answer that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you I can.
Go ahead.
Kung Fu Panda.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
How to Train Your Dragons beneath that.
like as a whole,
As
the
a whole.
franchise. But
Shrek.
what's maybe my up there with Kung Fu Panda?
Was it Shrek? Was that because I
Something from the Shrek franchise, technically.
Oh yeah, Puss in Boots. Yeah.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Those are my top 3.
Yeah.
Nice,
Kung Fu
nice.
Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, the first one maybe, and then Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Isn't that the only 3 franchises they have?
I love in
They
Puss in
have-
Boots the dedication to having the no redeeming element to the villain.
I know that was great.
It's like this is
That's
a
great.
smart decision.
And he's a big, overweight, blonde, rich guy.
Yeah.
Come on, what
Yeah,
are we
yeah.
doing? We know what we're doing.
We know what we're doing.
The other franchise that they have are the Madagascar franchise.
Oof.
Honestly,
Oh.
everyone like Trolls has a franchise.
Yeah, they've
Boss
all done
Baby
pretty
has
well.
a franchise. I don't know if
Despicable
they've done
Me,
well.
Sony.
Universal.
Illumination.
Yeah,
Or
so
Illumination,
Universal. Universal. What other franchises does DreamWorks have? I think technically, Prince of Egypt and Joseph, King of Dreams, are like a franchise. Those weird hand drawn animate, not weird, but they were
Yeah.
like late '90s.
One of those is when you're a kid, it's like, is this? This isn't Disney. You can tell, like when you watch. You know what's weird
Yeah,
is Anastasia
yeah.
actually
Fox.
is a Disney princess now
Yeah, that's
because
true.
they bought
Oh, is it a
Fox.
Fox?
Yeah, it was like a
because
Fox
they
animated.
bought Fox. So
That's a
now the
good point.
confusion
Wow.
actually
That's a
is
good
the
point.
truth.
That's a good point.
That's
Damn.
wild.
Shark Tale, I don't think is a franchise. Neither is B Movie. Neither is
Mhm.
Ants. You guys are just listing the one-off movies, and I don't think any of those movies are good enough to be in the top of the
Yeah.
DreamWorks films.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen How to Train Your Dragon 1,
Mhm.
and I've
He's
seen
only seen How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've seen Kung Fu Panda 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Weird.
seen Shrek the first 3. I've never seen the 4th,
Oh,
and I
that's
haven't seen
so
any of the
good.
Puss in Boots movies.
Oh,
Oh, farts.
Now, but Hector, can he watch Puss in Boots 2 without watching Puss in Boots 1?
no.
But but it's only there's only 2.
Yeah, that's true.
So
No.
That's true.
which
but
remember
it's-
when we were talking about it and I was like, I
Yeah.
thought there was 4 of those.
No.
What were they
there's
advertising for
4
all those years?
Shreks. They were advertising. There was a Puss in Boots Netflix show.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
maybe
It was
that's what
like
it was
TV
then.
budget. Listen, all of those, How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda, they've all had like Netflix or
Yeah.
other
Mhm.
streaming shows that would like air on Nickelodeon.
Original cast or new?
Half and half.
Oh,
Depends
okay.
on who.
Some
it-
depends on who it
Just
is.
like when you're watching What If, like
You're right.
Mm.
right.
that was the one show I
right.
don't skip over the credits. Like who'd we get?
Yeah.
Who'd we
yeah,
get this
yeah,
week?
yeah.
But like the Kung Fu Panda show had not Jack Black, not Angelina Jolie,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but James Hong came back to voice the
Oh, cool.
the dad, of
Yeah.
Mr. Ping.
That's
Yeah.
'cause he's great.
And he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Randall Duck Kim came back to voice in like a
Oh,
flashback,
okay.
Master Oogway,
Uh-huh.
and he's great. But there's
Yeah.
no Dustin Hoffman.
Right.
And then the How to Train Your Dragon show, I think Christopher Mintz-Plasse
Oh, really?
voiced himself, but like none of the other.
No, Jay Baruchel.
Actually,
No,
it
is it Jay
may have
Baruchel?
been Jay Baruchel, but not like America Ferrera was
Mhm.
Astrid,
Mhm.
and like
No, Gerard Butler.
Jonah Hill, I think, did a voice. No Gerard Butler doing the dad,
Yeah.
but they still got other voice matches, and they did a whole thing.
They're doing a
Mm.
TMNT animated series in
Oh,
the same
yeah.
world as.
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
may
I
have-
can't
and
wait.
And I wonder if that was part because those kids, like
You
you
can
can
get
get
those
those
kids.
kids.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Those kids will
You're not
do
getting
it.
Jackie
Yeah.
Chan.
Yeah.
Well, you can get those kids.
Yeah.
for a deal.
Yeah.
You're not getting Post Malone.
No.
We get those kids.
You can get the kids in there.
You're not getting Ice Cube. We can get those
You
kids.
can get those
So the
kids.
question is favorite DreamWorks franchise?
Or
Yeah.
movie. Just said movie.
Oh, just movie?
yeah.
Yeah, probably Puss in Boots. I haven't seen a lot of the DreamWorks
Yeah.
movies. They never
Mm.
appealed to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Shrek is the one that just sticks out to me the most.
It's great.
don't
But I
know that I've ever
loved
liked
Kung Fu
Shrek.
Panda 1.
Yeah,
I
you did.
loved
You
it.
just watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
We just
it was
watched it
so
together.
All
good.
right, maybe I'll watch the Kung Fu Panda movies. I'm getting a
Yeah.
lot of.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I told him I like had a random day at the movies where I saw like 6 movies back to back, and one of them was Kung Fu Panda 3.
This
Yeah.
is in 2016.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll walk in there. I put on my 3D glasses, and I was like, this is delightful.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
they're great.
All right.
But not all DreamWorks animated movies are like equal.
That.
They're not.
Yeah.
Pixar overall has a better quality overall.
yeah.
Even
Give or
the
take a Cars.
even the right, even
Yeah.
the worst Pixar movie is still probably Cars 2
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it's or The Good Dinosaur, and
Yeah.
they're probably still better made, overall better than like the worst like Illumination movies
Yeah.
or Warner Brothers Animation did like DC League of Super Pets.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Not a good animated movie.
Yeah.
I just saw Storks.
Oh, yeah, the
Didn't
one with
like
the Rock.
it. Not good. Yeah,
Yeah.
the one with the Rock. Yeah, yeah. So, but DreamWorks is kind of in the middle,
Yeah.
and I think they're mostly their output. I would say their averages are like fine,
Mm,
Okay.
but the
mhm.
when they hit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
Okay.
Kung Fu Pandas, your Shreks, your good Shreks, because Shrek the Third is awful.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. But Shrek 4,
I guess I don't
amazing.
remember it that well.
Oh, time to go back and rewatch all that stuff
All
for
the
you guys.
Shreks.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember Shrek 1 the most, I would say, for
Yeah.
sure.
But Adam is also famously within our community, like between me, him, and Augustine, he's the one that has probably sought out animated films the least. It's not really in his. Me and Augustine
Unless
met,
it's like the Justice League universe.
right, and me and Augustine met in college, and it was like an animation school. So we were like locked into that shit, and so we have I think a little bit more of a familiarity and a kind of a knowledge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it sounds like sounds like both of you guys are more like the live action movie guys. Which is
Yeah,
fine.
I like depressing shit.
It's fine.
I-
It's fine. That's
no,
great.
it's just
That's
one of those.
great.
I think it
That's
depends on.
That's great.
Kubo and the Two Strings is amazing.
Kubo the
It
Two
is
Strings
good.
is great.
It is good.
In 3D.
I think it depends. Like my wife had never seen any Miyazaki movies.
Oh,
so I was
amazing.
like, well, we gotta. There's some of these we gotta.
That's
watch.
over the
Yeah.
strike. We showed Adam some
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah.
The only one I had seen theatrically was Kiki's Delivery Service, and I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, the only one I
So
saw
good.
was a Ponyo, and I was
Yeah,
like, I am
yeah,
not
We
the
haven't got to that
demographic
one yet,
for
have
this
we?
Yeah,
one.
you're
I'm
like,
not.
this is weird.
Yeah, this is not for me. But one, she'd never seen Princess Mononoke was the one I'd seen.
He hasn't
and she'd
seen
never
it
seen
yet.
it.
It
And for
rips.
one, it's like rated like PG-13. I'm like,
But
that's
it's-
not true. That's
it's
not
R, dude.
definitively like
Oh, wow.
yeah. Within like minutes, somebody's head gets shot off. But that movie rips. It's so
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was the one moment where he catches the arrow and then shoots it back. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in any movie.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I really love Porco Rosso too.
Porco
That was a
Rosso
really good one.
with Michael Keaton doing
Yeah.
the dub was great. The Pig pilot,
Yeah.
and then we watched My Neighbor Totoro.
Mhm.
It's
great.
fine.
It's for
me,
children.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
for
like
children.
Neighbor Totoro,
That's
yeah.
my
Whimsical.
For me, it's Miyazaki. Some of it's like, hey, we're just gonna watch these kids hang out in the garden.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
okay, that's not for me.
And
Sure,
other
sure, sure,
times
sure,
they're
sure.
like, we're gonna
Blow your mind.
make you question your soul.
I never.
Oh
what
my
made
God.
what made us
This
start
is me
watching it
holding a
was-
cigarette. This
yeah,
is Miyazaki like.
I'd never seen Spirited Away, and that was the first one we watched. And I'm like, this is a
Mind-fuck.
masterpiece.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why she said,
Wild.
DJ, would you give something a 5? I'd give Spirited Away a 5.
Whoa.
Yeah, because
That's
it's
tight,
genius.
Dude.
It's
That's
brilliant.
tight, dude. That's so
And
cool.
also that kind of weird type of dream, somebody stumbling into a dream world. Because
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that
yeah,
stuff.
and in an animated world, you can do that.
Yeah.
In a way that no shade to Nolan with Inception,
Yeah.
but like he took people say he took a lot of inspiration from another anime film
Paprika.
called
Paprika, which is
which
great.
you could just get mind bending with the visuals.
I'm about to get
you
that
know?
4K Blu-ray.
Of
Yeah,
Paprika?
Paprika. Also, any Paprika fans, if you've never seen Paranoia Agent, who's from the same
Oh, I
creator,
haven't
which is
seen that.
Series
Oh,
A,
okay.
it's brilliant.
Yeah,
But Paprika, I like Paprika.
Yeah.
But that one moment that will always stick with me because it's like, yeah, this is how dreams work. It's like they're trying to trail somebody in, like, it's a circus tent, and then the guy looks inside a cage, and then he's the guy in the cage, and then it's like, yeah, this is dreams. This is how dreams are.
Yeah.
We also showed Adam for the first time Akira.
Oh,
And,
my.
like, those
We're
little
lipping God.
those little psychic children when they're like messing with the and like there's like visions of
Yes.
like toys coming alive
Dude.
and turn into milk, and it's all like nightmare fuel.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Damn, I
Yeah.
want to rewatch that movie tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Akira
it's
is
a
one of
good
those
movie.
movies. I've had this happen a few times where, like, Citizen Kane is another example where
Yeah.
you keep like, it's the best, it's the best. You're like, whatever.
Yeah, right.
And then you see it and you're like, oh wait, it is though.
It is the
Yeah, wait,
best.
you're
You
right.
weren't
Actually,
joking.
that's
This might be
correct,
the
yeah.
best animated film ever made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's genius.
3 stars. No
Yeah.
kidding.
3 stars. Only 3 stars. Yeah, Akira's great.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Is that our last question?
That was
Any
our
other
last
questions?
question. That's it.
Wow. Well, it's
Wow.
8:42.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's been a good
Uh-oh.
hour and 40 minutes. It's been a
Okay.
lot of fun.
Okay.
DJ, before we get out of here,
Yeah.
let people know, what are you doing? What are you watching? What are you reviewing? Give us
Oh,
all
yeah.
the give us all
Yeah,
the details.
What's give us a sneak peek for Only Stupid Answers, because you guys are tackling some topics soon.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, I do a podcast with Roxy Stryer called Only Stupid Answers. Hector's been on it. Adam's been on it. Hector's been on recently. Adam's probably going to be on soon.
Yeah.
But this week we're going to be talking about the new Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix adaptation.
Ooh.
We're going to have, I assume, friend of the show, Johnny Two Cellos on.
Yeah,
Oh,
John
cool.
Piricello. You know
Yeah.
John, right?
Yeah.
We should have him on this show.
We should.
Yeah.
Next week? Ask him.
Actually,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
we'll
He's-
keep going, and then afterwards,
Yeah. He's gonna come on, and we're gonna discuss that because I am a big fan of animation. I think it's a beautiful art form.
Yeah.
And I anyway, whatever. That's what we're talking about right now. And we were talking before the show, I'm watching Reacher because it's nice and easy and digestible.
So easy. Alan Ritson kicking a car. Great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got the part where he kicks the car, the airbag goes off. I'm like this. Yeah,
That's
sure,
great.
sure. But
You can do that. You can kick a car.
If you're Alan Ritson, you're 6'5" and 300 pounds, you
Jesus.
can.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Tom Cruise could never.
you know what's crazy is because they talk about how big he is. I'm technically taller than him.
Oh,
In the
yeah,
show,
you
he's
are
6'5",
really
and
tall.
I'm
yeah.
6'6".
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm not as big as
Yeah.
Alan
Yeah,
Ritson.
he a big
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, he's like
He a big boy.
4 of you.
Yeah.
I'm not as big as him, but
Which is crazy because
technically
he
taller.
was not like that. If you watch BTS on like Ninja Turtles, where he plays Raphael,
Yeah.
Or even
he's-
something more recent, like him playing Hawk on Titans.
yeah.
To the point where when
yeah.
I'm watching Reacher, I'm like, are you okay? Like maybe can your heart
Did you eat the rock?
Yeah.
He ate the rock.
Yeah, it's just like I hope you're doing
Jesus.
good. But I love him. I think
Yeah.
I think he's really gifted. Anyway, that's the kind of the stuff I'm checking out. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash, Only Stupid Answers, wherever you listen to podcasts. That's the bit. That's me.
That's the bit.
Awesome.
Thank you boys for having
I
me.
just watched your new Rockstars bit on Fantastic Four, and it
Oh,
was
great.
funny. Your
Thanks,
Southern
man.
lawyer.
Thanks, man. That was fun. We're getting a lot of good feedback.
Yeah.
Me and Brandon Barrick over at New Rockstars, that was a lot of fun because the weird question came up of like, what if the new Fantastic Four movie was like a court drama? And so I just went right into like a simple Southern lawyer. Like, Your Honor, I don't know nothing about no cosmic rays,
my
unstable
God.
molecules. What do you mean, Mr. Richards? When you
It was
That's
the
so
funniest
stupid.
shit ever.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, and then hopefully, if it works out, I would love to come on your show and talk about Dune.
Yeah.
Ooh.
100%.
Part two.
100%.
You know what? I'll pitch this to you guys because you just said friend of the show, John Piercello. Here's the update for this live show that we do every week. Next week, Augustine is still out of town.
Yes.
I will also be that day, first day, out of town. So you're gonna be by your lonesome.
Oh.
So
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
either we might go dark that week,
Uh-huh.
or if you just want to bring back two boys,
Yeah.
two other guests,
Yeah.
you could do that. DJ now knows where the studio is,
Yeah.
so that could happen.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna be
If-
here now.
if we could-
I hear that out of town. There's a free bed here. I'll take
yeah,
it.
there's a potentiality of some other guests filling in, but we could coordinate all that stuff, or we could still just go dark, depending on
Yeah.
whatever everybody wants to do. But then the very next week, I'll be back, and Augustine will be back.
Yeah.
So then it'll be back
The
to
boys will
normal,
be back.
but
Yeah.
little boys will be back in
Yeah.
town.
Either we'll go live, or either I'll use the time to
Ooh.
catch up on something. Who knows?
Ah, okay.
Or I'll
well
just
then-
go live on an hour by myself editing, and you'll see my head explode. Who knows?
maybe. So
Maybe,
so there
maybe.
we go.
Yeah.
So I think that's our whole update for CzechXicans. Now
Mhm.
this week's episode was the Czech, Greek, Irishicans.
Yep.
But if you
Yeah.
have John Piercello next week,
What
I
is
think,
he?
I think that dude's just white.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was
He's just
gonna be,
American?
It's going to be Czech, Greek, Irish, white.
Yeah.
So it'll be the CzechXicanites
Yeah.
or something.
That
I don't
sounds
know.
horrible. I don't know about any of
really
that.
bad.
But in the meantime, check out all the stuff that we've been watching. We are going through X-Men the Animated Series episode by episode on Patreon right now. At some point soon, we'll have those up on YouTube. What else we have on there? Dune Part 1.
On
Blue
Patreon,
Beetle,
yep.
Morbius. God help us.
Yep.
There's a bunch of stuff on there. So check all that stuff out. And we'll let you guys know. If you're not on our Discord, join the Discord. We'll give you guys updates on what's going on next week. Either it'll be me by myself, me with two guests, or we just won't go live at all. Who
And I'll also
knows?
say, too, for the Discord, by the time the next comic book show,
Yeah.
our little live radio show that we do happens, which is going to be 2 weeks from now, I will be here for that. And that's going to be we're going to be talking about the Mark Waid, Mike Rearwingo Fantastic Four run from the early 2000s. There's like a collection that's what we're going to read over the next 2 weeks and talk about that show. So check that out Tuesday, 7 p.m. in our Discord. If y'all haven't read that Fantastic Four run, it's the best.
What are you doing?
It's the best. So
What
we're
are you
going to read that and talk about Fantastic Four.
All right. We'll give you guys the updates. We'll see you maybe next week.